for Nyatika constituency, Honorable Tom Odege, will present a petition to the House on the gazettement of Nyatika West, Nyatika North, and Nyatika South sub-counties as hardship areas. This is a petition that will be forwarded to the public petitions, that is the relevant committee that will be charged with this, looking into this petition. And there will be a statement which will be requested by Honorable Irene Mayaka. This statement requires the clearance by the Kenya Revenue Authority at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. There are motions that have been debated in the House, and the business remaining is the question to be put. One of those motions is the consideration of a nominee for appointment as a member of the National Government Constituencies Development Fund Board. This motion is by the Chairperson Select Committee on National Government Constituencies Development Fund, that this House approves the appointment of Honorable Gabriel Kago Mokuha as a member of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board. Another motion which was debated is the inspection of various one-stop border posts in the Northern Corridor in the East African Community. This motion was moved by the Chairperson Select Committee on Regional Integration. This House adopts the report of the Select Committee on Regional Integration on its inspection of various one-stop border posts in the Northern Corridor in the East African Community, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 5th July 2023. The question will be put. The sessional paper number 1 of 2023 on Kenya National Population Policy for Sustainable Development was also debated. It was moved by the Chairperson Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning. The Land Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 65 of 2023, has been lined up for the first reading. The Land Laws Miscellaneous Amendment Bill 2023 seeks to make a variety of amendments to laws that relate to land to enhance efficiency in matters relating to grants and depositions and compulsory acquisition of land. There are a number of acts which are proposals to amend a number of acts, among them the Land Registration Act, the National Land Commission Act, the Land Act of 2012 as well. If you're just joining us, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Wetangula, is stepping into the chambers now, and I will hand you over for this live broadcast of the National Assembly proceedings on this 14th day of November 2023. The broadcast is made available courtesy of the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in conjunction with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Edward Kabasa. Enjoy your viewing.
Wako umetua nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu. Tukusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita ili tekeleza shughuli muhimu za jamhuri yetu. Tukuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa, na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako siendelezwe, na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Honorable members, the numbers look very scanty. Sergeant, can you ring the bell?
If you're just joining us, the House lacks the requisite quorum to enable business to commence. The number required is 50, and so the Speaker has ordered the quorum bell to be rung. As we wait for the House to quorate, we'll continue to look at the order of business this afternoon. And the Land Laws Amendment Bill 2023, which will be read for the first time this afternoon, proposes a number of amendments to various acts, among them the Land Registration Act number 3 of 2012. The bill proposes to amend the Land Registration Act number 3 of 2012 to amend section 56 to provide that the registrar shall not register a charge where land rent has not been paid. The bill also proposes to amend the National Land Commission Act of number 5 of 2012 to remove time limits to review all grants and depositions of public land, and to allow continuous receipt of historical land injustice claims to be heard after the year 2026 by upholding the provisions beyond the 10 years stated. The bill also proposes to amend the Land Act number 5 of 2012 to introduce amendments relating to general conditions, relating to leases, licenses, and agreements for public land, to introduce new provisions to regulate rent for the several periods and valuation of land for rent. In addition, the bill seeks to amend provisions relating to compulsory acquisition of interests in land. The bill does not delegate legislative powers, neither does it limit fundamental rights and freedoms. Also in the order of business this afternoon is the debate on the President's address, the one that, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 24, subsection 6, the thanks of this House be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the address of His Excellency the President, delivered in Parliament on Thursday, 9th November 2023, and further, that this House notes the following report submitted by His Excellency the President in fulfillment of the provisions of Article 132, subsection 1c, and Article 240, subsection 7 of the Constitution, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 14th November 2023. That one, the 10th annual report of the measures taken and progress achieved in the realization of national values and principles of governance. 2, the 10th annual report on the progress made in fulfilling the international obligations of the Republic of Kenya. And 3, the annual report to Parliament on the state of national security. The President did address this House. Of course, it was a joint sitting of the National Assembly and the Senate. The members will be given an opportunity to debate that address, and it is one of the businesses that the members will be engaging in this afternoon. If you're just joining us, we're waiting for the quorum to be achieved. The quorum bell is still ringing, and the number required for the business of the National Assembly to begin is 50. Just a quick reminder, there is a bill that will be read for the first time, the Land Laws Amendment Bill of 2023. This bill proposes amendments to various acts, among them the Land Registration Act number 3 of 2012, National Land Commission Act number 5 of 2012, and the Land Act number 6 of 2012. There is the member for Laikipia East, followed by the members for Kaloleni and Sirisia, making their ways into the chamber. Quorum has been achieved.
I have quorum to transact our business. Clerk, shall we roll out the first order?
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Tom Odeke. Honorable Tom Odeke Nyatike.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I stand here to present a petition on behalf of the people of Nyatike. I, the undersigned, on behalf of the residents of Nyatike constituency, comprising of the residents from Nyatike West, Nyatike North, and Nyatike South sub-counties, draw the attention of the House to the following. That harsh climatic conditions in Nyatike constituency have become a great concern affecting the locals and even the government workers who are posted to work there. That Nyatike constituency meets the requirements of a hardship area due to its vastness of the 3 sub-counties, deplorable road networks, and that have hampered movements, human-wildlife conflicts, lack of clean drinking water, food scarcity, poor communication networks, and lack of basic social amenities, among others. That the geographical orientation of the said sub-counties are also characterized by barren sandy soils, rugged and rocky terrain, poor rainfall, perennial floods, and devastating poverty that continues to affect education standards in the area and general harsh climatic conditions. That the government workers posted to Nyatike constituency have been reluctant in taking up jobs in the constituency, including those promoted to work in the region, and those who take up the jobs seek for transfer after a very short time. That schools in Nyatike are extremely understaffed, with the few teachers available poorly motivated due to non-payment of hardship allowances by the government. That teachers in the neighboring sub-counties experiencing the same climatic and economic conditions are receiving hardship allowances, for instance, Suba North, Suba South, Kuria East, and Kuria West. That basic government services, including issuance of birth certificates and death certificates and other crucial services, have been greatly hampered because of non-viability of government workers to undertake them. That Nyatike constituency has been deprived quality government services due to inadequate working force occasioned by harsh climatic conditions. That despite Nyatike constituency having met the criteria used to qualify and gazette it as a hardship area, the government and the relevant ministry or agencies have not effected to date. That efforts made by the petitioners to have the matter addressed have not been successful, and that the matters raised in this petition are not pending before any court of law, constitutional, or any other legal body. Therefore, your humble petitioners pray that the National Assembly, through the Public Petitions Committee, recommends to the relevant ministry agencies to gazette Nyatike West, Nyatike North, Nyatike South sub-counties as hardship areas, and makes any other appropriate recommendations it deems fit in addressing the circumstance raised in this petition. And your petitioners will ever pray. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Odege. Yes, Mother Wangari, Gilgil.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to support the member for Nyatike on that petition. And Mr. Speaker, this issue of hardship area has made some of us almost sound like a broken record. I remember even last parliament we brought it here. I brought it for Gilgil, and it is not clear even today who is supposed to gazette these areas as arid areas. And what that means, Mr. Speaker, is that we cannot retain teachers in rural schools. You will get schools in towns getting overpopulated with teachers, but far-flung schools are not able to retain teachers just because of this hardship allowance. And Mr. Speaker, the wider issue, even as the public petition considers this issue, is to actually clear to the House who is responsible for the gazettement. Secondly, what are the parameters that are used to actually decide that an area is an arid area? Because you will get a county, Mr. Speaker, like Nakuru, not classified as a hardship area, but some areas, like in my constituencies, inside the county are hardship areas. So how do we get this classified? So I hope that the public petition in executing this issue can be able to tell us what are the parameters and how do you ensure that different constituencies in areas that are not ordinarily considered to be hardship areas are also considered, and positively so. That way, Mr. Speaker, we'll have a clear guideline so that the issue doesn't keep coming up as a sporadic issue from each and every constituency. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
No, you can't choose yourself to speak. The member at the back, Julia Sunguli. Jared Okello, you are out of order.
Mr. Speaker, I want to support the member for Nyatike. Knowing the geography of Nyatike, I think of all the places that deserve to be hardship area, Nyatike really needs to be included. I didn't know for what reason, for instance, it's not included. I just want, however, to say, coming from a hardship area myself, to alert the member that there are good sides of being declared a hardship area, and there are also bad sides of it. We in Kilgoris are a hardship area, and we are unable to deal with the teacher crisis, Mr. Speaker, because the neighboring counties of Nyamira and Kisii and so on are not hardship areas, and teachers like to go to hardship areas. So we are trying to get our teachers, local teachers, to come back when we were who had been delocalized. Now they are being relocalized, and we cannot get teachers to go back to their homes because they like being in the hardship area. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to urge the members that most of the areas surrounding Kilgoris should actually be declared hardship areas, so that people could go back to become teachers in their area. So, but Mr. Speaker, on a more serious note, I think it is very important that our honorable member be considered. Nyatike is indeed a very hardship area.
Daoud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support the petition by Honorable Odege. And Mr. Speaker, we should do it up to the location level, like what the Equalization Fund is doing. Because hardship areas, somebody, if I tell him Meru is, some parts of Meru are hardship areas, they would wonder, Meru does not look like a hardship area. But Mr. Speaker, some locations next to Tharaka, next to Isiolo, like Igembe Central, Igembe South, Tiganyas, and Imentis as well with Tharaka, which is a hardship area. So, Mr. Speaker, there needs to be a policy where hardship areas will be like locations and not complete districts. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is that Chepalungu? Member for Chepalungu? Yes, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you so much, Speaker. I rise to support our colleague member of parliament from Nyatike, and equally to echo the sentiments made by Honorable Martha on the same, that we as a country ought to look at the parameters that we are using to qualify a specific region as hardship area. From my constituency, I border Emurua Digir to the south. Emurua Digir is actually gazetted as hardship area, while Chepalungu constituency is not. While I stand here today, Mr. Speaker, teachers from Chepalungu constituencies have refused to come back even after delocalization. And my constituency is actually facing shortage of teachers because of the same. It is high time. I am equally bringing a petition, and when it comes, I would really request the petition committee to look into the matter of Chepalungu constituency and consider it as one of the hardship area zones. Because in the last 1 year, in the last 2 years, there are areas in my constituency to the south, like Nogirwet, Kamongil, that have not even received a drop of rain, even in this era where the entire country is receiving high volumes of rain. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the petition by Tom Odege, Honorable Member from Nyatike. Thank you.
Memusi Kanjori.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And Honorable Speaker, we just want to add our voices. I think all members here attest to the same thing. Let me first of all thank the member for Nyatike for bringing this petition. Honorable Speaker, it's the same story for most of the constituencies here. Kajiado Central, for example, is 5,208 square kilometers. It's not classified as a hardship area. And as Honorable Martha has said, when you ask TSC, TSC says it's not us. It comes from OP. When you go to OP, OP says it's TSC. So Honorable Speaker, as the Committee of Petitions considers this petition, I think it will be very important for members to be given an opportunity to all present views on this matter. Because Kajiado East, for example, which neighbors Kajiado Central, it's only a road that separates us. A teacher who's teaching in Mashuru primary school or secondary school, and a teacher who's teaching at Megumi primary or secondary school, one in Mashuru is under hardship allowance, and the other one on the other side doesn't receive any hardship allowance. So, Honorable Speaker, I support the petition and urge the committee to put in views of members. Thank you.
Jared Okello. Give him the mic.
You're mischievous here. I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on the same breath, allow me to also congratulate my brother, Honorable Dege. Honorable Speaker, just as my sister, Honorable Wangare, has said, this issue did arise in the last parliament. And many members in this house then rose and spoke about it, Honorable Speaker. But up to now, we do not know which office this matter falls under. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, even without the involvement of the Petition Committee, we would request your indulgence to give direction on this matter, Honorable Speaker. Nyando constituency sits right between Nyakach constituency and Muhoroni constituency, Honorable Speaker. Both constituencies, neighboring constituencies, are enjoying the benefits of hardship allowance. Nyando constituency, known for its perennial flooding, Honorable Speaker, does not. Yet, it is the flooding prototype that was used in order that these two constituencies could benefit from hardship allowance, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, this matter is very key to us, very important to members of this House, and we may ask for a complete re-evaluation of all the parameters that were engaged in order that constituencies were being earmarked for hardship allowance and those without. Finally, Honorable Speaker, no public officer, no state officer would want to serve in an area where there is no hardship allowance, yet in the neighborhood there is hardship allowance. So you have teachers posted to Nyando, for example, and the following week they're applying for transfers to go to either Muhoroni or Nyakach, Honorable Speaker. And all these problems are being presented to the doorsteps of members of parliament to deal with. Honorable Speaker, for once, help us. Last year, or the year before, there was a multi-agency team that went across the country to appraise itself on the hardship situation of every constituency. This report was thrown out of the window. We do not know where it is exactly up to now. So, Honorable Speaker, we indulge you to give direction, just as you have done before, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Rueda.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, kuna sababu za maeneo kuitwa eneo la ugumu. Watu wakisikia au wabunge wakisikia, kila mtu anafikiria zile pesa au faida wanazozipata. Mimi nakubali na naamini kweli Kenya yenyewe kukaa Kenya yote ni eneo la ugumu. Inakuwa ni hardship area. Lakini kuna wale wengine zaidi wana matatizo na sisi kama wabunge, na hili bunge linafaa lifanye usawa kwa Wakenya wote. Hii eneo la ugumu, labda kama wabunge hawajui inamaanisha nini, kwa vile wanakaa huku hawaelewi wengine wanapata matatizo gani. Ningekuomba Bwana Spika, uchukue wabunge watembee, especially Lamu East. Inamaanisha hivi, mwalimu anayekuwa Lamu East ananunua maji lita 20 kwa shilingi 50. Huwezi mfananisha mwalimu aliyoko Nairobi au pale pengine. Inamaanisha hivi, mtu aliyoko Kiunga analipa 8,200 ndio apate ID. Wajua mimi nilivyoona Wakenya wanalalamika kulipishwa 2,000 ID, nilikuwa nasema ni sawa sawa walipe kama sisi tunavyolipa. Kwa sababu sisi inaweza kufanyia hesabu ya rahisi, ukitoka Ishakani pikipiki ni shilingi 300 paka Kiunga. Kiunga ni shilingi 700 paka Mkokoni kwa gari. Mkokoni upande boat shilingi 3,000 paka Mokoe. Mokoe upande pikipiki shilingi 100 paka kwa ofisi ya vitambulisho. Hiyo hujalala, hujafanya chochote, hujakula, na uwezi kwenda siku moja na ukarudi. Hiyo ndio inamaanisha hardship area. Kule kwetu Lamu East Kiunga, kuna walimu wanapewa off, hawaendi off kwa sababu hawezi kuafford hiyo pesa ya kwenda nyumbani. Na wale wanaokaa kule haimaanishi ni Wabajuni peke yake, kuna ndugu zenu, kuna kila kabila ambao wako kule wanapata shida, lakini nyinyi mkisikia tu ni mgao au ni faida, kila mtu anataka yeye apate. Mwataka mkuwe reasonable wabunge. Kuna watu wanaumia hii Kenya, nyinyi mkikaa hapa kuna wengine wanaumia. Na ndio sahihi tunataka kufanya marekebisho. Kuna maeneo haina hata inchi moja ya tarmac ya barabara, ambapo sasa serikali hii ndio inaangalia mambo hayo. Juzi tumeenda ndio barabara ya kwanza. Sisi tukichukua wanafunzi kwenda Lamu West au kuwapeleka Mombasa mwanzo, ili kwa sababu waenda wakaone lami inamaanisha nini, lami ni hii, kisha nyinyi mtaka kujifananisha na sisi. Mimi naomba hata hao wanaopanga majina hardship area isijulikane, Speaker. Na ningekuomba sana hao wabunge ndio wapate kutuelewa, tafadhali panga trip wabunge waende wakaone marginalization ni nini au hardship area ni nini. Kuna waaskari wako Kiangwi hawaogi, wanaishi kama wanyama kwa sababu hawana maji. Maji kila ukichimba ni saline. Speaker, na kuomba tafadhali kwa hisani yako panga wabunge waende wakaone hardship area inamaanisha nini. Asante.
Can we close there? You are saying the same thing. Yes. Ruku.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Hardship.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Better know this hardship area, Mr. Speaker, and we have excess teachers, 68 in primary school, who should be transferred from Bereno to other areas. And we have excess teachers, primary school teachers, because of the hardship allowance, Mr. Speaker. TSC, Teacher Service Commission, is a independent constitutional body, Mr. Speaker. Yes. And therefore, they should be in a position to come up with a human resource policy to rationalize this issue of hardship allowance and areas where there's no hardship allowance. It is possible, because it is important to retain talent. It is important to ensure each and every teacher is comfortable in a corner of the Republic of Kenya where he is working or she is working. So that we may not see many constituencies with excess primary and secondary school teachers and others which are lacking enough teachers. So I think, Mr. Speaker, it's upon Teacher Service Commission to regularize, to come up with a policy, to come up with ways of ensuring that these hardship allowance will not skew the way teachers are posted in different corners of the Republic of Kenya. It is upon the Teacher Service Commission to work on a policy which will guide how the staffing of each and every primary school, each and every secondary school, to ensure we have enough teachers and well remunerated, not necessarily through hardship allowance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, the member next to Irene Mayaka, Member for? Jalash. I have not been seeing you in the house.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my first day back at work after my 30 days leave for sick leave, sir.
Oh, pole sana.
Asante.
And ugua pole.
Asante.
Go ahead.
You see, when I hear people mention about hardship areas, there is no any hardship area in this country more than Nairobi. Nairobi is even worse. Nairobi is even worse. This is even called Shamba la Mawe, to insinuate that this is where hardship begins. Come to my constituency in Langata, for example. We have a ward called High Rise Ward, where we have only one public school, one, Joash Olum Primary School. With one school in the whole ward, it means the whole ward and all their children go to the same school. Can you imagine what the teachers at Joash Olum Primary School are going through? And I wanted to just talk to my sister, Madam Rueda, that just talk about issues of Lamu County. Just talk about issues of Lamu County. Because if each one of us would tell you what our teachers, even in this city of Nairobi, are going through, you won't believe. Because us now, we are dealing with issues of overpopulated classrooms, understaffed schools, and that's what we are dealing with here in Nairobi. And the slum areas are even worse. Right now it is raining. It is even hard for the children to even get to school, or even the teachers themselves. Let's not even talk about the muggings and the killings that teachers are going through. Each and every single area in this country, let's declare Kenya a hardship country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I want to stop there. That petition is committed to the Public Petitions Committee to report back in 30 days. Those members who have got issues, you can go before the committee and articulate them. Honourable members, before I call Irene Mayaka, is it Irene Mayaka? No, not yet. We have not reached there. Allow me to acknowledge in the galleries university student leaders from different universities in Manyata constituency, Embu. We also have honorable members, I also wish to introduce to you a delegation of students under the National Junior Frontiers Incorporation, a program from the USA, who are seated in the public gallery. The delegation is led by Justice Jawad Rashid, a retired judge from the United States of America, and the national president of the said organization. The National Junior Frontiers Incorporation is a youth educational and cultural program that prepares students for undergraduate and postgraduate studies, as well as orienting them to professions that they may venture into upon completion of their studies. As part of the program, students undertake international tours to educational institutions in various countries in the African diaspora to explore, learn, and interact with their peers. The delegation is therefore on a study visit to Kenya, Italia, learn and understand the history and workings of our parliament, as well as to undertake a tour of the facilities. On my own behalf and that of the National Assembly, I welcome them together with the university students from Manyata to the House of Parliament and to have fruitful engagements during the visit. The member for Manyata has asked me to give him 1 minute to welcome the students. You can combine with the American group.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and Santi Sana for that. Honorable Speaker, I have the student leaders from all universities in Embu County and Manyata constituency in specific, and I want to first tell them welcome to the National Assembly, a house where we have leaders that are making laws impacting in their lives and the whole of the country. Honorable Speaker, I say this having seen them conducting an election that was so well organized that the student leaders that were elected, I was wowed and I said they need to visit the National Assembly and see how business is conducted. Honorable Speaker, we have to really do something about our student leaders and the model that we are electing them this time, because we need the vibrancy of the previous years, of the yesteryears, coming back to our student leaders. And Honorable Speaker, I also want to say that I call upon the government to release the help money and the funds for the universities so that our students can continue learning and can continue surviving in the universities, Honorable Speaker, as urgent as possible, and so that their lives can move on. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. And on behalf of myself and all the members, I welcome the student leaders together with other delegations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 14th November 2023. 1. Addressed by His Excellency the President Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya. 2. The 10th Annual Report on the measures taken and progress advanced in the realization of national values and principles of governance. 3. The 10th Annual Report on the measures progress made in fulfilling the international obligation of the Republic of Kenya. 4. The Annual Report to Parliament on the state of the national security. And 5. The legal notice number 175 of 2023 relating to the Public Finance Management Ulinzi Prime Health Services Fund regulations of 2023. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to lay.
Next order. Majority Leader, under Roman 5. I'm told you have not laid the document. Do you have the document with you? On now, Roman 5 is stayed to tomorrow, so I order that to be expunged from the Hansard. Be ready to lay the document tomorrow. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
There's a statement from nominated member Irene Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to request for a statement regarding the clearance by the Kenya Revenue Authority at points of entry. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44, subsection 2, part C, I wish to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning regarding the recent directives issued by the Kenya Revenue Authority regarding customs and duties levied on items for passengers traveling through the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Revenue Authority issued a directive seeking to tax travelers or passengers arriving into the country from international destinations to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport with items worth US dollars 500 and above. The directive stated that all goods, whether new or used, valued at beyond 75,000 Kenya shillings, must be declared and subjected to taxation at various entry points. This also includes personal and household items that have already been used. Honorable Speaker, these issues have elicited widespread disconnect and have the potential of adversely affecting our tourism sector, which is important to our national economy. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning on the following. Number one, what is the legal basis and framework for the Customs and Duties Directive, particularly the 75,000 Kenya shillings value cap for any used and personal items? Number two, what steps have been taken to ensure that the Customs and Duties Directive is enforced within the boundaries of existing laws and regulations, and what legal safeguards are in place to prevent arbitrary action by authorities? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Irene. Kimani, that is directed to you. 2 weeks? 1 week. So you can bring the statement on Tuesday next week. Yes, Ruku? There's no provision for commenting on or debating a statement.
Yes.
So if that's what you want to do, you're out of order. If there's something else, I'll allow you.
The same issue was raised today in the Committee of Delegate and Registration.
It may have, but on the floor, there is no provision for you to comment on a statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Take your seat. Out of order, Okello. Next.
Order number 8, special motion, consideration of a nominee for appointment as a member of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board. Question to be put.
All the honorable members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable member talking to Gikaria, take your seat. Take your seat. Thank you. Honorable members, at order number 8, I'll now put the question, which is the taking into consideration the findings of the Select Committee on the National Government Constituencies Development Fund in its report on the vetting of a nominee for appointment as a member of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 7th November 2023, and pursuant to sections 15(1)(e) of the National Government Constituencies Development Fund Act 2015 and section 8(1) of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House approves the appointment of Honorable Gabriel Kago Mukuha as a member of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, inspection of various one-stop border posts in the Northern Corridor in the East African Community. Question to be put.
David Speaker, take your seat. Honorable members, at order number 9, I now put the question that this House adopts the report of the Select Committee on Regional Integration on its inspection of various one-stop border posts in the Northern Corridor in the East African Community, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 5th July 2023. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, sessional paper number 1 of 2023 on Kenya National Population Policy for Sustainable Development. Question to be put.
Milemba, take your seat quickly. Farah, take your seat or disappear to wherever you're going. Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 10, that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning on its consideration of sessional paper number 1 of 2023 on the Kenya National Population Policy for Sustainable Development, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 4th October 2023, and further approves the sessional paper number 1 of 2023. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 11, the Land Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 65 of 2023, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to make amendments to laws that relate to land.
Honorable members, before we go to the next order, I want to bring to your attention that following repeated requests on the Speaker to give direction on the dress code in the House, next week on Tuesday, I'll deliver a comprehensive direction on the dress code. It will be very comprehensive and far-reaching, and I want to encourage all of you to abide by the ruling and direction. It's based on longevity of the Speaker in this House, comparable jurisdiction, our own rules and standing orders that govern the dress code. And I can assure you that the House Business Committee has weighed in on this and advised that in the manner in which we have been going, the decorum of the House is sinking to its lowest. Because members just come to this House dressed in any manner they like. Our ladies in the House Business Committee even took issue in the manner their own colleague ladies dress in some way. And I'll give a very comprehensive direction so that from there on, enforcement will be left to the Sergeant at Arms. Anybody who will come dressed in a manner other than what we shall have advised will be deemed to be a stranger in the House, so that we maintain decorum, respect the dignity of the House in every respect. Yes, Julia Sunguli, what is out of order?
Mr. Speaker, you being the main constitutional upholder in this House, understand that all your decisions are very, very binding. And isn't it in order, Mr. Speaker, for you to ask for a bit of public participation, that members of this House make comments, especially because I come from a constituency that would like to have an input on how Kenyans should dress in their national house. So let's encourage some public participation before you make this big statement.
Julia Sunguli, the Constitution says we exercise our power directly or through our elected representatives. Your elected representatives are members of the House Business Committee, and they have made their findings and stand on the matter. So you are ably represented, and whatever we decide has been canvassed properly by your elected representatives as is provided under Article 1 of the Constitution. Next order. Before we call the next order, members, I have also directed the clerk and the clerks at the table that because of the manner in which you have been mismanaging the screen, members walk in at 1:30, log in, and then block the screen. The screen remains full before we finish the prayer. Before any order is called, the screen is full. From now henceforth, at the end of every order, the screen will be wiped clean. Then you log in on the order that is coming so that we can be able to know who wants to speak on a particular order and who doesn't. You've seen the embarrassing situation where the Speaker calls out a member and he says, not on that one. You call another member, not on that one. And yet you are top on the screen. So the clerk and the clerks at the table will enforce that as well, so that when an order is called, then you key in. Of course, the chair will exercise discretion Sometimes we take into account gender balance, regional balance in debates. We take into account party balance. We take into account even age balance. We have very young members whom we want to grow. We give them sometimes opportunities and so on and so forth, but we'll be strictly following the order on the screen. Like now we have wiped clean. When the majority leader starts moving the motion, those who key in will then be called upon to speak. I hope that will give us a little order. Then members, some raise both their hands, others stand up, others shout point of order when it's not a point of order, and so on. Next order.
Order number 12, motion, debate on the President's address, first day.
Honorable members, before the majority leader moves the motion, I also want to add on the issue of the dress code that the direction I will give will also cover your conduct in committees. Remember that the committees in which you sit are an extension of this chamber. And I've been horrified to see members turning up in committees dressed in jeans and t-shirts and all manner of regalia. So whatever will give direction, the chairman of committees will be enjoined to enforce that direction so that the decorum you are expected to display in this chamber is the same decorum you display in the committees when members of the public appear before you and you look like a street fighter. You don't display a very good image of this house. This motion coming, you know that the mover has a maximum of 30 minutes. A maximum of 30 minutes. Every member, and the minority leader as well, 20 minutes for the minority leader, sorry. And every member contributing has 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or 5 minutes. But you don't have to exhaust your time. If you make your point and there are as many of your colleagues to speak, you can give way. Secondly, this motion will be debated the whole of this afternoon, will be debated tomorrow morning, and we will move a closure at the end of the day after tomorrow afternoon sitting. So we are allocated this afternoon, tomorrow morning, the whole morning after preliminaries, and then the afternoon thereafter we close to give way to other business on Thursday. Majority Leader, the floor is yours. Pardon? Yes, you can log in now. Those who want to speak.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 24(6), the thanks of the House be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the address by His Excellency the President delivered in Parliament on Thursday, 9th November 2023. And further that this House notes the following report submitted by His Excellency the President in fulfillment of the provisions of Article 132(1)(c) and Article 247 of the Constitution, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 14th November 2023. One is the 10th annual report on the measures taken and progress achieved in the realization of national values and principles of governance. Two is the 10th annual report on the progress made in fulfilling the international obligations of the Republic of Kenya. And three, the annual report to Parliament on the state of our national security. Honorable Speaker, as indicated, His Excellency the President did give his State of the Nation address last week on Thursday, and allow me, Honorable Speaker, to thank all the members of Parliament in both houses who sat patiently through the close to 1 hour that the President gave his State of the Nation address. Honorable Speaker, I must also appreciate His Excellency the President. First, from his opening statement, he did note that he was coming before the democratically elected representatives of the people to discharge what is his constitutional mandate, as I have said, under Article 132, 1C. And he stated that was to come and give an account to the people of Kenya on the measures taken by their government under his leadership to give full expression and effect to the soul of our constitutional dispensation by implementing our national values and principles of governance as cited in Article 10 of our Constitution. Honorable Speaker, I take this opportunity to commend the President because of his noting that he was not only playing his role as a leader charged under our Constitution to deliver a certain mandate and certain reports to the House and to the people of Kenya through the elected representatives, but also he was being accountable to the people of Kenya on the progress that has been made by his administration and the government that he leads on behalf of the people of Kenya. And indeed, I noted with excitement, Honorable Speaker, and satisfaction that we have a president who now appreciates that this is a government that belongs to the people of Kenya. And in his opening statement, Honorable Speaker, he spoke to the measures being taken by the people's government. And if I may paraphrase, Honorable Speaker, actually read out, he said the measures taken by their government, the people's government, under his leadership. And Honorable Speaker, I therefore take this opportunity to commend His Excellency the President for recognizing that he is only one amongst equals, amongst not just the leaders that serve our nation, but also the people of Kenya, whom he has been bestowed with the unique and great responsibility of leading a government that belongs to the people of Kenya. And for that, I commend His Excellency the President and his administration. Honorable Speaker, the President went to great lengths to not only speak to the progress made so far in terms of realizing our national values and principles of governance, but also, Honorable Speaker, in the realization of all the pledges and commitments that the President and the Kenya Kwanza regime committed to the people of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, for the members who are there in the nation, that everybody in the nation who was listening to the President, they will remember him taking the country back to where we began from, where he took over the reins of leadership in September last year, on the 13th of September, when he took office. The very first things he had to do, noting that he needed to undertake an urgent transformation of our economy to stop and reverse the negative trends of runaway unemployment, what he described as a yawning inequality and widespread poverty, which were denying millions of Kenyans their dignity and extinguishing their dreams of living in a country where they can be proud to be Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, the President spoke to the mass appeal of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda that he campaigned, the platform that he campaigned on, and many of us in Kenya Kwanza campaigned on. And I appreciate, Honorable Speaker, that the President did reaffirm his commitment and that of his administration to bring the national values and principles of governance to life in order to significantly enhance the well-being of each and every individual in our country and to promote the unity of our country, the stability of our nation, and the security and development of our beloved motherland. Honorable Speaker, in his exposition, the President took us back to where he found an economy that was struggling, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, members will note from his address what he said, that it was important for all of us as a country, or rather, it was important for us all to point out that we began implementation of the mandate to transform Kenya's economy from the bottom up under extremely difficult circumstances. Honorable Speaker, the President was quick to say that without excusing failure or justifying inability or omission to do necessary work, but rather to emphasize the significance of the progress made so far, underscoring the possibility of transformation under very daunting conditions, and to express the well-founded confidence that when sufficient progress is made, we shall all as a nation do much more and go much further in delivering the Kenya we want for our generation and for posterity, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me also to commend and note the President's appreciation that one, he took over leadership of this country at a time that our country's economy was fledgling, and using the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, he set out on a mission to transform our country's economy, and he notes that he has no time and no space to give excuses for any failure or even to justify inability by government or his administration or omission to do the necessary work. This, Honorable Speaker, tells us that we have a leader and a president who is leading an administration where there is an appreciation of where we are coming from. He knows, and we have an appreciation of the progress made so far. And Honorable Speaker, if members go through the entire speech, and I believe the entire address is now at the table office, Honorable Speaker, members will be able to draw reference to it. The President was able to enumerate the progress made so far, and even without giving any excuses, Honorable Speaker, but appreciating that we are coming from a very difficult global recession with the COVID pandemic recovery still ongoing around the world, Honorable Speaker, with wars not just in the Middle East but also in Europe, Honorable Speaker, in Russia and Ukraine, Honorable Speaker, with disruptions to the global supply chain and disruptions that came with the drought, Honorable Speaker, that was built to have been the worst drought in 4 decades. In almost 40 years, Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Kwanza government came into leadership in the midst of a drought that was built as the worst drought in 40 years of our existence as a nation, in a period of close to 60 years, Honorable Speaker. And without giving any excuses, Honorable Speaker, the President enumerated the measures that the government has taken to safeguard the well-being of our nation and to facilitate the recovery of our economy from the bottom up. Honorable Speaker, right from this fertilizer subsidy that the President spoke to, pointing even to farmers that he spoke to. Honorable Speaker, members will remember the mentions of Samuel Chacha in Kuria, Albert Munyi in Embu, farmers who were speaking to the President and appreciating the impact of the subsidized fertilizer, Honorable Speaker, in not only improving the productivity of their farms as individual farmers, but also in contributing to the 18 million extra bags that have been delivered by our patriotic and hardworking farmers, courtesy of the subsidized fertilizer, and of course, with the grace of the Almighty God in providing us with adequate rains in the last 6 months, and even the ongoing rains, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the President did not stop at that. He enumerated the challenges that will come even with the El Nino rains. With maize harvested now close to an additional 18 million bags coming into our supply chain, Honorable Speaker, in a way, Honorable Speaker, putting an extra 200,000 acres under production,
But also, Honorable Speaker, the challenges that will come now with the El Nino rains, that part of this maize, especially that maize being harvested now and in the last few weeks, may not be in a position to be dried courtesy of the current prevailing weather conditions. But appreciating that, Honorable Speaker, the President did note that the National Cereals and Produce Board will also be assisting farmers to dry their maize, and indeed at a very subsidized price, at almost a fifth of the price of 70 shillings down from 350 shillings per bag. And indeed, he indicated that on Wednesday of last week, the first consignment of 100 mobile dryers for use by farmers around the country had already docked at our port in Mombasa, ready for use. Honorable Speaker, he did not forget our dairy farmers, who he indicated that the government is in the process now of mapping out the production areas of milk in our country to ensure that we also have coolers and milk processing facilities ready for use for farmers, to ensure that the farmers are able to store their milk in a very hygienic manner and to secure post-harvest or post-milking losses by ensuring that this milk is not only cooled but is transported under hygienic conditions, to ensure that our farmers reap the highest benefit in terms of the prices that they get from their milk, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, coffee farmers, tea farmers were not left behind. His Excellency the President enumerated even what our fishermen and fisherfolk down in Nyanza, in the coast, and even in the mountain, where people are now engaged in fish farming. Honorable Speaker, that the blue economy, Honorable Speaker, space is one of the areas that the government has really invested in. And the President, Honorable Speaker, I remember him speaking to about 22 new fish landing sites in 9 counties in Nyanza and the coast regions, Honorable Speaker. And I have been fortunate to have accompanied the President at least in Kabonyo, Kanyagwar, Kabonyo Kanyagwar, in Kisumu County, and also in Kilifi County, where my brother, the Deputy Leader of Minority, hails from, to commission some part of these 22 new fish landing sites. And in a way, Honorable Speaker, this is one investment that is going to change in a big manner and in a big way how those communities around our lakes and our water bodies, whether be it in the lake in Nyanza, Naivasha, Bogoria, Turkana, or even in the coast, Honorable Speaker, we will be able to reap maximum benefit from the fish that they're able to extract from our water bodies and be able to get these fish processed and marketed from very hygienic conditions at the landing sites, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on increasing productivity, Honorable Speaker, the President also did allude to the challenges that he found in office. Honorable Speaker, at this particular time, the conversation since last night, be it on social media, in hotels, and even at our own members' lounge here, Honorable Speaker, has revolved around the cost of living, and principally around the cost of fuel. Honorable Speaker, the President did allude in his address to the nation on some of the challenges that he found in office when he took charge. That, Honorable Speaker, the President came to settle bills of close to 60+ billion shillings on account of fuel subsidies, and another close to 4 to 8 billion shillings on account of consumption subsidies that were geared towards subsidizing maize flour, I think, and sugar in the last 2 months of the last regime, Honorable Speaker. And members will remember, these are measures that were taken in the run-up to the elections. And Honorable Speaker, there has been a clamor for the reintroduction of these subsidies. And I am glad, Honorable Speaker, that the President went to great length to explain to the people of Kenya on the difficulty of entrenching consumer subsidies vis-a-vis having a system where you have sustainable production subsidies, Honorable Speaker. Because, Honorable Speaker, as the President stated, it was left to this regime or to his administration to settle the bills of the consumption subsidies that were effected in the last 8 weeks. Subsidies that were geared towards enticing the people of Kenya to vote in a particular way, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is one thing to seek political popularity, and it is another thing to do the right thing for posterity and for future generations of this country. Honorable Speaker, I just came from Stony Athi, where we are retreating on the national dialogue process. And the question of the cost of living is one of the key issues that we are having to deal with even at the national dialogue. And I want to encourage Kenyans to continue conversing and dialoguing with each other, because it is not until we are able to look at each other in the eyes and tell each other the truth that it is not tenable, Honorable Speaker, to subsidize fuel. It is not tenable, Honorable Speaker, to continue shoring up our shilling against other hard currencies. And I must commend the current administration in the central bank, because they have told us we have to deal with economic fundamentals as they stand without shoring up our shilling against the dollar or other hard currencies, Honorable Speaker. That we have to deal with the economic fundamentals and deal with sustainable economic solutions for the benefit of our generation and future generations. Honorable Speaker, we risked in the last 2 months of the last regime, Honorable Speaker, driving our nation into a pit that we would never have seen light at the end of the tunnel from that pit. But I am glad, Honorable Speaker, from the measures enumerated by the President and what Kenyans can see, this country is on the right trajectory in terms of recovery of the economy, Honorable Speaker. And I said it is one thing to say and do all the right things for the ears. What will excite the masses, Honorable Speaker? It will be very easy for the President today to act populist, like those ahead of him did. Subsidize maize flour, subsidize fuel, Honorable Speaker. Or even today declare that we have done away with VAT on fuel, for instance. But, Honorable Speaker, the question that we must look each other in the eye and ask ourselves, even if we had not a single tax on fuel today, will the cost of fuel continue to rise amidst the global rise of oil prices, Honorable Speaker? And the straight answer, Honorable Speaker, whether we like it or not, whether there are taxes loaded onto some of the products that we are dealing with, like fuel, if the global oil prices continue to rise on account of the war in the Arab world, in the Middle East, or in Ukraine and Russia, Honorable Speaker, if you are not able to change certain fundamentals like those of that war, if you are not able to change fundamentals as the global supply chain disruptions that came with the COVID pandemic, if you are not able to reverse the climate change issues, Honorable Speaker, the West, in Europe, in the Americas, Honorable Speaker, they are now at the onset of winter. The demand for fuel for heating in their homes is at a very high level, Honorable Speaker, and demand for fuel will continue being there. Honorable Speaker, until and unless we deal with those fundamentals, we can only be lying to each other and lying to our people, pretending to shout from rallies and funerals that we can subsidize fuel, Honorable Speaker. Our economy today cannot bear the burden of subsidizing fuel, Honorable Speaker. But I must note, Honorable Speaker, that being an administration and a regime that is being sensitive and alive to the realities of the challenges, global challenges that pervade the economy in the world, Honorable Speaker, this administration, Honorable Speaker, even with the consistent rise in global oil prices, Honorable Speaker, using the Fuel Stabilization Fund, at least this administration has been able to preempt very high spikes and standardize the pricing using that stabilization fund, Honorable Speaker. And I want to believe, Honorable Speaker, even in the expected review of oil prices or fuel prices this month, the use of that stabilization fund will be utilized. And that is the right way to do things, Honorable Speaker. Otherwise, we can continue subsidizing fuel, continue accumulating the kind of bills that we are accumulating to the tune of 60 billion shillings for a period of only 7 to 8 months, but sink our economy and our country into a debt hole that we will never get out of, Honorable Speaker. The joy that we must celebrate today as a nation, that even with the difficulty around the world, Honorable Speaker, our nation, our country today, Honorable Speaker, as the President stated, we can confidently stand up high with our shoulders and our necks high and tell the world markets that we are ready to start repaying our Eurobond. We shall not be defaulting on any of our international financial obligations, Honorable Speaker. And I must commend this administration and the President for the measures taken to ensure that we do not take the route that has been taken by other African countries. Honorable Speaker, let me say it all begins and ends with leadership. With the right leadership, you do the right things at the right time. With the wrong leadership, Honorable Speaker, you will be tempted to do all the populist things that we speak about in funerals and rallies over the weekends, Honorable Speaker, that we can afford, knowing very well that we can't, Honorable Speaker, to subsidize food, to subsidize fuel. Honorable Speaker, all the things that we cannot afford as a country, Honorable Speaker, we must be bold enough to look at each other in the eyes, to look at Kenyans in the eyes, and tell them that we were in a bad place, but we are getting somewhere, Honorable Speaker. I am very confident, Honorable Speaker, and I know those who never voted for this government, those who never believed in this administration, those who do not support this administration would not agree with me or agree with the President when he says that this economy has now been stabilized. We are now out of the hole. We can now see the horizon. We can see where we are going, Honorable Speaker, as an economy. That may not be clear to those who believed in subsidizing consumption, Honorable Speaker. That may not be clear to those who believed that state capture, Honorable Speaker, and the fight against corruption was a war to wage against individuals and not something to do for posterity, Honorable Speaker. I am glad the President spoke and addressed the nation on what is his administration not only intends to do, but is doing on the fight against corruption, Honorable Speaker. And I know many of us, again, those who never believed in this President and in this administration, have taken issues, Honorable Speaker, with a mambo ni matatu phrase. But, Honorable Speaker, that is just how bold we have to be. Honorable Speaker, His Excellency the President did allude to the conflict of interest bill. And without anticipating debate, Honorable Speaker, that bill is before this House. I wait with bated breath, Honorable Speaker, to sit and listen to how many of us in this House who pontificate on the fight against corruption will stand to oppose the conflict of interest bill that stands to decisively deal with matters, state capture, and the fight against corruption, Honorable Speaker. The shoring up of our interest, of our shilling against the hard currency, Honorable Speaker. Kenyans may not know that on account of state capture, our shilling, our foreign exchange reserves were being manipulated on account of state capture, because those who held instruments of power were also players in the banking sector. Government agencies, government departments were being forced to bank with particular banks, private banks, Honorable Speaker. But we have opted, Honorable Speaker, out of magnanimity, not to look back, but to forge ahead, knowing that we found an economy that was in the doldrums, without looking back at who did what through state capture, Honorable Speaker, to focus on what needs to be done now, urgently, to get our economy working again, and not working for those in government today, not working to those who are policymakers today, but working for the downtrodden, working for those at the bottom of the economic pyramid, Honorable Speaker. We speak about social protection, Honorable Speaker. What greater social protection can we speak about if not the National Social Insurance Fund, Honorable Speaker, that seeks to create a social insurance fund for millions of Kenyans who cannot afford their health care today, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we may speak until the cows come home.
You are on home stretch, Majority Leader. You are on.
I have noted the light, Honorable Speaker, and that's why I'm saying I can speak until the cows come home. But I cannot overemphasize the need for all of us to stand up as patriots and do the right thing for our economy. For all of us to stand up and join in the fight against corruption for the sake of our generation and future generations. For all of us to stop being populist and do the right thing to get this economy back on its track, even without looking back, Honorable Speaker, but forging ahead together, united as a nation, for the posterity and prosperity of our great people and our nation, our motherland, Kenya, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I now beg to note the thanks of the House on the State of the Nation address and request the Deputy Leader of Majority, the Honorable Owen Baya, member for Kilifi North, to second this motion.
Honorable Mbaya, you have 5 minutes to second.
Not 10.
5.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, one, I want to note the thanks of the House for the President's State of the Nation address by one, noting the President's emphasis on transformation. That transformation is underway. A president gives hope to his nation. A president looks at the sunny side of things for the country. And President William Ruto did just that when he came to this House to deliver his State of the Nation address. That the many things that he has done cumulatively, there is hope for this country. A hope that his better or his bottom-up economic transformation agenda is going to transform this country, put it on the steady, and that this country is looking forward to better days than where we have come from. So I want to commend the President for this speech, a speech filled with hope, a speech filled with promise, but also a speech filled with important items and activities that he has undertaken in the first 1 year to ensure that the country, this ship has been put on the steady. Honorable Speaker, one of the most important things that I thought I picked in this speech, Honorable Speaker, is that better is not just about economic transformation, but it is also about, as he states it in his fourth paragraph, it's also about social justice. It's about inclusivity. It's about democracy. It's also about protection of the marginalized. Honorable Speaker, very many people did not go into the depth of what better is about. It is about social justice. Very many people in this country have suffered, and very many people have suffered under state apparatus in this country. We heard about the many killings that were being carried about by DCI. We heard about the Rivayala bodies. We heard about people being killed by instruments of government. Better has brought that protection of the marginalized, protection of human rights, and protection of the state of Kenya and the people that live within it. So, Honorable Speaker, as we talk about transformation, we are not just transforming the country economically, but also to transform the social justice, to transform the fight against corruption in this country, and Honorable Speaker, to also to bring law and order. Honorable Speaker, very many people, I'm sure, were surprised when the president actually fired some of the officers in government. Some of them were taken to court very fast on allegation of corruption, something that we had not seen, to drag in investigation for many years in the past. But, Honorable Speaker, we have seen what better also means in the social justice sector. Honorable Speaker, if you go through the president's speech, you also see that he notes and he is aware that we are in extreme difficult conditions economically as a country. He knows that. He doesn't run away from that fact. He notes it, but he does not just note and step there, but he gives us a way in which we can get out of the doldrums that we find ourselves in this country. First, Honorable Speaker, he talks about the transformation in agriculture, the inputs he has made, the kind of infrastructure laid out in agriculture. Kenya is still an agrarian country. The manufacturing in this country will come from nowhere else but from agriculture. It behoves on the head of state to ensure that he develops the sector of agriculture. And, Honorable Speaker, the subsidies in fertilizer, the seeds, the input, the credit that goes into agriculture, Honorable Speaker, will bring us positive results as we trudge on the way. Honorable Speaker, I note with appreciation when the president says we are putting the shame of hunger to rest for this country. And I think every year this parliament sits back one time and says, you know, we have hunger in this country. We need to mobilize resources. But the president has decided to take the bull by its horn and has told this House in his State of the Nation address that henceforth we must put to shame the issues of hunger in this country, that we must stop, that every time we have to give food to people because they're hungry. We need to grow food. Everybody needs to grow food so that there is enough food for the nutrition and also for manufacturing in this country. Honorable Speaker, the president also notes the transformation in education. In the 12th parliament when we were here, we had very many issues with CBC, and everybody was apprehensive about how CBC was going to be, what junior secondary was going to be, what senior secondary was going to be. But the president has steadied the ship, and in his State of the Nation address, he talks about it with passion, with precision, that the education sector in this country is on the right foot and is going to steer it in the right foot. As I can see, the light is on, Honorable Speaker. But you know, I am on the high.
Your time is up. You know your time, honorable members. When you are given an opportunity, put your points in an organized manner. I now propose the question, honorable members, that pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 24-6, the thanks of this House be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the address of His Excellency the President, delivered in Parliament on Thursday, 9th November 2023, and further, that this House notes the following reports submitted by His Excellency the President in fulfillment of provisions of Article 132(1)(c) and 247 of the Constitution laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 14th November 2023. 1. The 10th Annual Report on the measures taken and progress achieved in the realization of national values and principles. 2. The 10th Annual Report on the progress made in fulfilling the international obligations of the Republic of Kenya. And 3. The Annual Report to Parliament on the state of national security. Victor Koech. Yes, Honorable Ruku.
Mr. Speaker, I rise on point of order standing order number 97. Following the immense interest of this presidential speech or address to this House, we reduce the time from 10 to 5 minutes so that every member from the both sides.
The time is already 5. I already gave you direction that the mover had 30 minutes, the seconder 5 minutes, every member speaking 5 minutes.
Okay.
And the leader of minority, even when he wishes to speak, 20 minutes.
That's okay. Thank you.
The following members will also have 10 minutes each if they wish to speak. The chairman of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal, the chairman of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign, and the chairman, Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Affairs. Those three, if they speak, will be given 10 minutes each. Member for Chepalungu. And the chairman of?
Thank you.
He's a stranger to the standing orders.
Common Mwananchi. This is a president who knows what the Kenyan wants out of him. The president deliberately chose not to continue with the culture.
Debate on the President's address to Parliament, first day. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, it's an honor and privilege for me to move the 10th address of the President to the joint sitting of the two houses in line with Article 132(1)(c) of the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank members of this House and members of the National Assembly for turning out almost a full House in their numbers to listen to the President. Mr. Speaker, I wish to request this House that spirit should be, if possible, or as much as possible, be kept in ensuring that we debate on this speech. Mr. Speaker, because the speech of the President was both audio, video, and also in draft form, and all members followed it, I don't want to make the mistake of taking a lot of time in moving this motion, walking through the same speech, which members are familiar with. But just allow me to make a few points of highlights. The first one, Mr. Speaker, being the fact that the country was impressed with the President's commitment to the need for us to transform this country in keeping with our bottom-up economic plan. Mr. Speaker.
Senator Boni.
Yes.
You need first start with the motion.
Oh, I needed to move the motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am extremely sorry. And if you allow me, Clerk, I would like to read the motion before I move it. Mr. Speaker, this is the danger of being assigned a job. You are excited to finish. But if it was me coming in my seat, I would have started by what I did. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I move the motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, I move the motion, which is debate on the President's address to Parliament on the first day, being today, that pursuant to Standing Order number 25-1, the thanks of this Senate be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the address of His Excellency the President, delivered on Thursday, the 9th November 2023, and further that the Senate notes the following report submitted by His Excellency the President in fulfillment of Articles 132(1)(c) and Article 247 of the Constitution of Kenya, laid on the table of the Senate today on Tuesday, 14th November 2023. This report, Mr. Speaker, included the 10th State of the Nation address by His Excellency the President, delivered at a joint sitting of Parliament on Thursday, 9th November. And 2, the 10th Annual Report 2022-2023 on the measures taken and progress achieved in realization of the national values and principles of governance. And 3, the Annual Report to Parliament on the state of the nation, the national security, November 2023. Mr. Speaker, with the advice of the clerk, because we want to allow as many people as possible to contribute, allow me not to be repetitive. What I had said in the 3 minutes earlier to apply during record of Hansard, copy and paste, so that I can move to the next point. My next point, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to congratulate the President for admitting before the joint sitting of the House that in Kenya today we have an existing condition, in fact conditions of extreme difficulty. There is extreme difficulty in the country. And some members of the public who mean well, they know that leadership must look for a solution. But other members of the public who want to score points want to use this opportunity of difficult circumstances that our people are going through to either make fun of leaders or confirm that they have failed. It is difficult. I've been in politics for over 20 years, and in my life I have never been heckled in the Luo Nation. All the way from Kitale to Bungoma to Kakamega to Vihiga and to Busia and more and in the diaspora. Mr. Speaker, sir.
What is the point of order, Senator Sifuna?
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Halwale, the Senator of Kakamega, is misleading this House. In fact, as late as a few weeks ago, Boni Halwale was heckled in his own village when he tried to convince people to replace the existing border motorcycles with electric ones. This is something of a matter of public record to which Mr. Halwale, Honorable Halwale, should not lie to this House.
But Senator Sifuna, I thought the good senator is admitting that for the first time he's going through a rough patch.
Mr. Speaker, I was saying that things are so difficult, my kid brother, that for a man who has never been heckled across the Luo Nation, all the way from Kitale to Kakamega to Bungoma to Busia to Vihiga and the diaspora, for the first time, I was not only heckled, Mr. Speaker, but I was actually heckled at Marinya Stadium. Thank you. I was heckled at Marinya Stadium. And at Marinya Stadium, that is my home. That is my polling station. Marinya Stadium is the product of my hands. It is where Mr. Speaker, the youth on the eve of polling usually sleep in the polling station waiting for the polling officers to come and open the station and so that they can vote for me. And Mr. Speaker, where I have always gotten 41 votes out of 3,800 votes plus as opposition votes to me. And I know the owners of those votes. They are, like I'm speaking now, I can see the vote of Bernard Siola is one of those ODM votes, you know, small things. Mr. Speaker, I reflected hard and long on this. And then shortly after that, I saw Kenya's most popular politician today, William Ruto. There was a similar experience somewhere in the coast. And I went thinking further, and I realized, I called the president, I couldn't access him. I wanted to tell him, these people, they like us so much, it's not that they're heckling. They want us to hear it from them direct, that things are bad. So it doubles our calling that we must work hard and serve Kenyans a solution. I want to urge colleagues, members of parliament, whether you are in the opposition, we have been there. Now I'm in the government, I have been there. Let us work together, even if we are going to oppose each other at the forthcoming election. We work hard enough. Members of the opposition push us hard enough so that we can deliver. We want to make sure that we come out of this confusion that, as we all know, was occasioned by 2 years of total lockdown on the global market, including, Mr. Speaker, Chwele market in the backyard of the Senator for Nairobi, including Lubao market was locked, Kayeka was locked, Mutwapa was locked for 2 years. There was no business. So things will take a while before we recover. I was talking to an economist, Mr. Speaker, and he was telling me something. If it is wrong, Americans, please forgive me. But the economist told me, it was not the economist in the House, the center of Migori. He told me the Americans are the only ones who enjoy the monopoly of printing money. And during the COVID time, they printed dollars and were putting on the accounts of Americans so that Americans could be cushioned from the difficulties of COVID-19 at that time. And he was telling me, he could be wrong, I don't know, I'm just sharing with you a good story of two adults when they are seated in the usual place. He told me, what's happening is that the Americans now, they are mopping out those dollars from the market. And therefore, the exercise of mopping out has made it difficult for you to get dollars. Obviously, when on the market a commodity is hard to get, when on the market a commodity is in high demand, it is called the law of supply and demand, that commodity becomes expensive. That's why the Kenya shilling, we are spending more money to get the dollar. The moment we get it right, you'll have your time to debate.
Senator Boni, what is the point of order, Senator Kenyo?
Mr. Speaker, I like listening to the good doctor and Senator for Kakamega. But Mr. Speaker, you know, sometimes he confuses us. Right now, he talked about the issue place, Mr. Speaker. So I don't know which is the issue place. It can be a bullfighting field, Mr. Speaker. It can be a bar. For me, issue place is the church. So I didn't know what he meant.
Mr. Speaker, that is frivolous. But all the same, I want to advise the young senator that when you will come of age, you will discover that people of adult age tend to sit in certain places in the evening so as to compare the greatness of their minds. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is because of that principle of supply and demand the economist was telling me, that we are finding it difficult and finding the dollar very expensive. I'm hoping that he was right. Soon, the depreciation of our shilling will slow down. And I've been following it. I follow it every day. It used to appreciate from the time we took over government. It was appreciating sometimes by 20 shillings, sometimes by 5 shillings, like that. But now it has gone down. In the last 3 weeks, Mr. Speaker, it has been depreciating by cents. Today it was at 0.6. Before we went for weekend, it was at 0.5. Earlier on, it was 0.3. So we're doing well. And we would like to encourage Kenyans that you allow the things that the President spoke to, that we put in place for us to ensure that our country recovers. And by the way, my dear colleagues, able friends from the opposition, we gave you a chance to tell Kenyans how you'd fix it. And you told us we were not doing it well. What were we doing? We were giving cheaper fertilizer. Now down from 7,000 to 2,500. And you told us that could not be the magic bullet. We said beat. So you called big rallies, and I want to thank you for standing down your rallies. And the idea of lowering the food prices was putting cooking pots and sufurias on your heads. That kind of science, as a scientific mind, I can only relate it to mental illness. How on earth? It is not possible. If that is how we are going to teach our children at home, then we might as well outlaw education in this country. Mr. Speaker, the President, therefore, deserves our kudos for his commitment to our citizens. That was not only limited to that, but he also spoke to his commitment to the citizens' freedoms. His commitment, Mr. Speaker, to fundamental rights, and his commitment, Mr. Speaker, to democracy. Nothing is more important. Those of us who exercise fierce independence of mind, we do it because that has been our life, and we have decided that is our life. Young senator from Migori, at the age of 22, at the University of Nairobi, before I was discontinued, we poured into the streets of Nairobi because Khamenei had been detained. We poured into the streets of Nairobi at that time, Mr. Speaker, because Jaramogi Oginga Odinga had been put under house arrest somewhere in Bondo or his Kisumu house. The youth leader is here, Senator Siaya will confirm. We poured into the streets. We poured into the streets, Mr. Speaker, because George Kidhi, the editor general of the Standard newspaper, had been detained at the age of 22. And for that reason, Mr. Speaker, I and others, we were discontinued from the University of Nairobi. So, because we believed in those things then, I don't see how I can lose sight of the fact that people paid, including Kenneth Matiba, including Martin Shikuku, including John Maria Sarone, who were detained because of defending the freedom of speech. Nobody should ever deny a politician or any other Kenyan the freedom to speak. I therefore want to use this platform this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, to condemn the violence that was visited on the Orange Democratic Movement Member of Parliament of Mumias East constituency by the governor of Kakamega because he was not comfortable with the speech of that MP. The MP belongs to DAP. That's what you wanted to correct me. And the governor with bad manners belongs to ODM. Mr. Speaker, we must condemn this. People must speak How can you stop people from speaking? Mr. Speaker, the issue of freedom of speech is so fundamental that I have been arraigned in court in this country because of your debate. Relax.
What is the point of order, Senator Eddy?
Mr. Speaker, I'm on a point of order on relevance. Mr. Speaker, the majority whip has been invited to this House on this floor to move a motion on the State of National Address by His Excellency William Ruto, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenyan Defense Forces. Mr. Speaker, is Senator Boni in order to use this precious time of this wonderful House to discuss village politics and bullfighting? No, Mr. Speaker, it's very disappointing because focus on what the President said. If you cannot understand what the President said, or you don't have the confidence in defending it, then just sit down. The members of the House will help you, because you're even confusing the entire nation.
Senator Eddy, what is your point of order? You're not supposed to give a speech.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to find Senator Boni out of order to bring irrelevant issues and village politics in presidential speech. Let him move this speech and let him defend it as the majority whip. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Eddy, one of the aspects as contained in that particular speech by the President are the freedoms we enjoy, including the freedom of speech. And that's why Senator Boni was giving an example. He's quite in order to do that. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to be very humble. My son, it's always good, Mr. Speaker, for
refer to your colleague as the Honorable Senator.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry to call him my son because he has got the handsome, youngish face of Tigana. So I thought he was Tigana, my son. I wish to recall. Mr. Speaker, it pays in your first term in Parliament, and my age mate, Oburu is here. Senator Oburu will confirm to you that it pays to spend some little time to learn. On the exposition of the speech of the President normally makes bullets. If you go to bullet 10, it will call your point of order to shame. Because in bullet 10, the President speaks to citizens' freedoms and fundamental rights, and he says they lie at the heart of the enterprise and democracy. So if we don't laud it, so that the children at the University of Nairobi, who will be soon taking over from us here as our senators, so that the MCAs who will graduate to come to this house can know how you debate this kind of motion. You don't debate it in the same manner that we debate the others. Mr. Speaker, the President said, and I want to laud him, that immediately he went into office, he quickly did certain things that were touching the will of running the nation. And Senator Sifuna is here, Catherine Muma is seated there, and our clerk Jeremiah is there, and the Speaker is seated there, and on my left I can see Cherargei is there, and Mungatana, eminent lawyers of the Republic of Kenya. They know the meaning of giving the judiciary a budget. The President actually gave the judiciary 3 billion shillings immediate, and as if it was not enough, he instantly appointed 6 judges, including my own cousin, Justice Egri Mujerule. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, these members are now confusing me. Mr. Speaker, this is the way to govern a nation. And these big things that he's doing, you cannot see the evidence today. It's going to take a bit of time when now you unlock the logjam of cases that are not being dealt with in the judiciary, because now judiciary will be having its own budget, judiciary will be having enough judges in the Court of Appeal and so on. This is the way we go so as Kenyans can access justice. Mr. Speaker, it is important that we laud the President for speaking to the attempt to reverse the cost of high living. I will not go into details. He talked about fertilizer cost. He talked about housing. And in housing, we all know how it is going to help in making sure that the cost of living goes down. Mr. Speaker, I'm a farmer. I do sugarcane farming, and I do dairy farming, and I do maize farming. For a long time, I had been doing 18 bags of maize per acre. But because fertilizer was cheaper, I was encouraged. I used to avoid buying because I was making a net loss. But because it was only 2,500, Mr. Speaker, I was encouraged, and I'm glad that for the first time, I harvested the center of Siaya 27 bags per acre. A huge difference. I can imagine if I was having a big farm, I would have actually taken my children, I would have paid the school fees at the university for my sons and daughters who are there out of that. This is what we want to do for our economy. Speaking on the same maize, you go to Kitale, you go to Bungoma, you go to Lugari, you go to Trans Nzoia, you go to Washinigishu, it is a bittersweet. It is bittersweet. You know what has happened? Because we have produced more, again the law of supply and demand has set in. So a bag of maize, 90 kilograms, which we were buying for 8,000 shillings, now the farmer had planted and had harvested thinking that he would make 8,000, 7,000, 6,000. It has dropped down to 3,600. So it is bittersweet. You, the guys who we feed, we are from the food basket. You are happy, you are getting cheap food. But us, we are not making money. So the principle of guaranteed minimum returns, we want to urge the President and his ministers and his cabinet to ensure that for every crop in this country, be it the maize farmer, the sugarcane farmer, coffee, what have you, a farmer must have a guaranteed minimum return that ensures that for every crop they make a profit. Mr. Speaker, the President spoke on the issue of finance, and elaborately he told us about the efforts he has taken to stabilize the situation. But the telling point, out of the 10 or so points he raised on matters of finance, there was only one point that touched me. He said that the infamous Eurobond that was borrowed by the handshake government and which has brought us a lot of problems. I can see Sifuna is starting to look like he has swallowed a live bee. It's a pity. You were not here at that time.
Senator Boni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Unwarranted. Please, Senator Boni, proceed to withdraw that particular statement.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to withdraw my remark that Senator Sifuna is looking like he has swallowed a live bee. It is not true. You know, when you have a live bee in the stomach, Mr. Speaker, you cannot look happy in the face. I withdraw and apologize to Senator Sifuna. But Senator Sifuna is my joking friend, so we always joke together.
Senator Boni, if you are done, kindly...
No, Mr. Speaker, let me complete the President's speech. I would be failing on my duties if I did not say that because...
What is the point of order, Senator Funakuru?
Majority Leader.
My good friend, Bonnie Halwani. If I didn't know you more, I would have said you've taken that changa from the Kakamega. But I think now I'm on the other side saying,
Senator Fanakuru,
can we take...
what is the standing order that you're anchoring your point of
be
order?
affected? So can you take this matter very seriously, very, very seriously, because I think what we are talking about is very, very serious. That's what I can only say for now.
Order, Senator Sifuna.
Mr. Speaker, correct me if I'm wrong, but there has been a previous ruling of the chair that in fact there has never existed in the history of our republic a government called or known as the handshake government. In fact, we had a government formed by a party called Jubilee, in which the president was Uhuru Kenyatta and the deputy of the republic, or the deputy president of the republic, was William Ruto. The Hansard will bear me witness, Mr. Speaker, that we have had this previous engagement, and the chair has directed that in fact there is no entity in the history of this country called the handshake government, and I would object strongly to those references to such government by Senator Khalwale in his submissions.
Senator Boni, you know, the previous government was formed by a political party called Jubilee, which did 2 terms. I do understand that in the second term, the Jubilee government had a handshake with the party leader of ODM, but that does not qualify that particular government to be called a handshake government. The responsibility of whatever happened lied squarely with the Jubilee government.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand guided. It's quite true. What you have guided me on is also true that Senator Sifuna is right. You know, Mr. Speaker, sometimes the mind can play games on you. When you see an imagery of the then Deputy President running away from the Jubilee government, and as he goes out, you see another man running in. Then the one who was running doesn't come out, he stays there for so long that, Mr. Speaker, the act of running into that burning house, he ended up being burned there until his ambition of becoming president went up in ashes. So I apologize to the Senator of Nairobi, and my sister, your point of order, which obviously was under 105, Senator for Nakuru, you mean well that me, I'm associated with Changa, which is true. And you are associated with the Garoshe things, which is also true.
Senator Boni, yes. You know, you've taken so much time. And any person seated listening to you to move this motion is wondering exactly what you're doing. Can you get down to it?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what is weighing me down are points of the order. But if there were no points of order, I would just be articulating point A and E. But now points of order, I have to deal with them. Mr. Speaker, I was making my final submission on the issue of the most important statement that the President made. It was about Eurobond, $2 billion. And Mr. Speaker, this country has been living with a sword of Demagogue over our heads because we were going to be declared uncredit-worthy. But thanks to the hard work of the President, he has confirmed that next month we are going to pay off in advance $300 million, and that we are not going to default until the entire 2 billion shillings is settled. With those remarks, I allowed the President, and I wish to invite the distinguished senator from Tana River to come and second me, and Senator of Tana River, as you second me, today there was a report of a hero, of a teenage girl in Tana River who crossed the river to go across to go and deliver pregnant woman. Mr. Speaker, sir, protect me. When you go back, I have had 20,000 for shopping if you manage to know her. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Bwana Spika, ningependa kuchukua nafasi hii kukushukuru kwa kupewa muda huu kutoa maoni yangu na kuunga mkono hoja ya mswada ambao uko mbele yetu kuhusu hotuba ya rais ambaye alitoa kwa mabunge yote mawili. Bwana Spika, mimi ningependa kusema mambo machache katika kuunga mkono hoja hii. Ya kwanza ni kwamba rais aliongea kuhusu hali ngumu ya maisha ya wananchi hapa Kenya, na alisema kwamba gharama ya maisha imepanda, lakini yako na mpango, na mpangilio alioelezea pale kwa wananchi ni kwamba hali ngumu ya maisha kwa serikali kung'ang'ana nayo ni kupunguza gharama ya chakula. Na kama alivyoendelea kusema mheshimiwa mwenzangu aliyetoka hapa Khalwale, ni kwamba serikali ilipunguza gharama ya pembejeo kutoka 7,000 kwa kilo mpaka ikafika 2,200 na 500 kwa begi moja ya pembejeo. Bwana Spika, wananchi wanajua na wale wanaonisikiza ya kwamba chakula tukikikuza kwa wingi ndio tutapata nafasi ya kupunguza ile bei. Na ukweli ni kwamba Mwenyezi Mungu alikuwa pamoja na sisi wakati bei ya pembejeo iliposhuka, mvua zilikuja, na zilipokuja chakula kimepatikana kwa wingi. Na hata sasa wale ambao wanajua mambo ya ukulima, wakati wa mvua hii ndefu kidogo, watu pia bado wanapanda, na tunategemea kuvuna tena chakula kingi. Kwa hivyo tunashukuru rais kwa mipangilio yake ya kusaidia mkulima wa kawaida ili chakula kiwe kingi na bei ishuke chini. Bwana Spika, sisi kule kwetu Tana River hatusemi tu kwa yale ambayo yameahidiwa, tunasema kwa yale ambayo tumeyaona. Bwana Spika, rais katika kampeni zake wakati alikuwa anatafuta kiti, tulipokuwa tunatembea kule, alisema mimi nikiingia nitahakikisha zile project zenu kubwa kubwa ambazo zinahusika na uzalishaji wa chakula nitazifufua, na hizo zitatusaidia kama Kenya. Na alisema tunataka hili bara la Tana River tuligeuze liwe mahali pa kutoa chakula pa kutegemewa zaidi hapa Kenya. Na Bwana Spika, sisi kule kwetu hatusemi kwamba ni ahadi, tumeziona, kwa sababu katika ile Tana Athi River Development Authority na ile project ya TDIP, Tana Delta Irrigation Project, ambayo tuko nayo, rais amekamilisha ahadi yake, na alianza kwa kupatiana milioni 450, na tukaanza kitu kizungu wanaita pilot project. Na hiyo pilot project, Bwana Spika, ekari 500 zimepandwa mchele, Na huo mchele sahihi, Bwana Spika, ukipita pale sehemu za Gamba, Sera, ukiwa unaenda hewani hiyo barabara, unaona mchele mahali ambapo ilikuwa ni bara, hakuna kitu. Unaona wananchi wanalima, wanashughulika. Hizo ekari 500 peke yake, Bwana Spika, zimeanza kutembeza pesa sehemu hiyo kwa wingi. Wananchi wanashukuru, Bwana Spika, na sisi tumeyaona, sio ahadi, sisi tumeyaona. Tena Bwana Spika, kupitia kwa waziri wake na katibu wa kudumu, project hiyo wanakuja mara kwa mara kuiangalia ili wananchi waone kwamba serikali imejitolea. Na Bwana Spika, sababu ya kufufua ukuzaji wa mchele ni kwamba Kenya kwa sasa inatumia bilioni 540 kuleta chakula hapa Kenya. Na ukweli ni kwamba pesa kubwa ambayo inatumika hapo ni kuleta, kizungu wanaita mafuta ya kupikia ama edible oil. Alafu inafuatizia na mchele. Wakenya huwa tunalipa bilioni 60 kuleta mchele kutoka Pakistan na nchi zingine, kwa sababu hatutoi mchele wa kutosha. Sasa katika ile mipangilio, upande wetu, kaunti yetu ama jimbo letu gatuzi la Tana River, katika mipangilio ya rais ni kwamba sisi tutasaidia kupunguza ile bill ya bilioni 60 za Kenya ambazo tunazitumia kununua mchele kutoka Pakistan. Mchele huu ukuzwe katika jimbo gatuzi letu la Tana River. Na katika mipangilio hiyo, Bwana Spika, rais alienda tena kuweka pesa katika Bura Irrigation Scheme ambayo iko hapo kwetu. Na Bwana Spika, Bura Irrigation Scheme kwa sasa iko na ekari 5,000 ambazo zinalimwa kwa chakula. Lakini Bwana Spika, tuko na shida ya kwamba maji hayatoshi. Na ni kwa sababu gani? Ni kwa sababu ile scheme wanatumia diesel, mafuta ya diesel kupiga maji yaingie mashambani. Na bill ya hiyo maji peke yake, Bwana Spika, inakuja milioni 10 kwa kila mwezi. Na Bwana Spika, ukiangalia hesabu hiyo ni milioni 120 kwa kila mwaka kuhakikisha kwamba maji yanatembea. Rais wetu aliahidi wakati wa kampeni kwamba ule mradi wa kutumia gravity, ya kwamba maji yatakuwa yakiteremka kwa nguvu za kawaida, ataufufua. Na alikuja mpaka Bura, Bwana Spika, sehemu ya Nanigi, na akafungua yale maji, Bwana Spika. Na yale maji sasa yanashuka bila kutumia nguvu za diesel. Na ekari ambazo zimetengenezwa sasa tunataka kutoka 5,000 zifike 15,000. Na target yetu ni kwamba zitafika 25,000 za mchele. Na kule chini, kule kwa Tarda, tunataka kufikisha 30,000 za ekari za mchele. Target ni kwamba Tana River County, ile bill ambayo tunatumia kama Kenya kuleta mchele kutoka nje, shilingi bilioni 60 itapunguzwa, na Tana River itakuwa eneo la kutegemea la kutoa mchele katika Kenya hii yetu. Na tayari Bwana Spika, tunaona mabadiliko. Vijana wameanza kwenda. Tumeona pia watu wengine kutoka sehemu zingine ambao wanajua faida ya ukulima wa mchele wameanza kuingia katika jimbo letu gatuzi, na tunawakaribisha wote, kwa sababu kuna nafasi karibu 30,000 za kazi ambazo zinatokea na zinaendelea kukuzika katika sehemu yetu. Kwa hivyo sisi tuliposikia rais akiwa anaongea mipango hii ya kupunguza hali ya maisha na bei ya chakula, sisi tunajua ya kwamba ni kweli. Na Bwana Spika, mimi sisemi theory. Watu wetu wanajua ya kwamba wakati lile tingatinga la Tarda linapita, wanavuna, alafu wanawacha chakula. Wanasema wananchi ambao wanaweza waende kuchukua, manake wanachukua ile raundi ya kwanza na raundi ya pili, lakini bado kuna chakula kinabaki. Watu wanaenda wanaweka magunia mengi ya mchele. Na Bwana Spika, wakati ule ile skimu ilikuwa inafanya kazi miaka iliyopita, kulikuwa hakuna njaa kule. Sasa Bwana Spika, tunatarajia maisha hayo kurudi, kwamba kutakuwa chakula cha kutosha. Kwa hivyo sisi tukiwa tunaongea, hatuongei maneno peke yake, tunaongea ukweli ambao tumeuona katika jimbo letu gatuzi la Tana River. Na pengine kuongezea ni kwamba sisi jambo ambalo tungependa liongelewe zaidi ni kuongeza miungo misingi. Tunataka kuona barabara zingine ambazo zinakatwa katika hii area yetu vile ilivyoahidiwa kitambo katika wakati wa kampeni. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, hali ya maisha ambayo tunayaongelea, kuipunguza ni kuongeza chakula. Na wananchi wanajua chakula kikiongezeka, bei zitashuka na maisha yetu yataenda kuwa mazuri zaidi. Bwana Spika, kuna jambo ambalo limeongelewa, nataka kulirejelea kidogo, ni kwamba Kenya tulienda kuomba pesa, na hatukuomba pesa kwa IMF peke yake, kwa Africa Development Bank ama World Bank. Tulienda kwa commercial market, mahali ambapo watu wanachukua madeni kama mtu yoyote wa kawaida, na tulichukua dola bilioni 2. Bwana Spika, kila mtu alikuwa na wasiwasi ya kwamba Kenya haitalipa hiyo pesa. Na Kenya isipolipa hiyo pesa, basi ile heshima na mambo mengi yetu yangeharibika. Bwana Spika, Ghana walienda kwa hiyo commercial market na walishindwa kulipa, nchi ikakuwa declared bankrupt. Sasa watu walikuwa wanaangalia Kenya watafanya namna gani. Na hizo bilioni dola 2 manake ni bilioni 303 za Kenya. Bwana Spika, rais wetu amesema milioni dola 300 zitalipwa Disemba, na pesa tuko nayo tayari. Kama watu wanasema kwamba hatusimamii uchumi vizuri, je, inawezekana mtu ambaye ako na madeni na ameambiwa deni lako utalipa mwezi wa 6 mwaka ujao, anaanza kulipa mwezi huu kabla miezi 6 kabla kulipa hiyo deni? Bwana Spika, ni sawa tufanye siasa, lakini pia tuseme ukweli ya kwamba tumeanza kusimamia uchumi wetu vizuri. Na hizo dola milioni 300 ni sawasawa na bilioni 45.4 za Kenya. Na hii pesa iko tayari na tuko tayari kulipa. Na Wakenya wajue ya kwamba mipangilio yetu ya kiuchumi inaenda vizuri. Mwaka huu, wakati huu Oktoba, mwaka jana, ilikuwa inflation rate yetu ni 8.9. Oktoba mwaka huu inflation rate ya Kenya ni 6.9. Hiyo ni kusema ya kwamba tumeshukisha. Sasa siasa tufanye, lakini ukweli pia tuseme. Angalia Bwana Spika, Oktoba hii figures za Central Bank zinasema tumeweza kupata ushuru wa bilioni 170 billion, ambayo imeongezeka 19.4% ukiunganisha mwaka uliopita na mwaka huu wakati huu wa Oktoba. Bwana Spika, nasemaje? Nasema mgala muue, lakini haki yake mpe. Raisi anafanya kazi. Raisi anaangalia huu uchumi. Raisi anapanga mambo yetu. Na ni kweli tuko na shida, lakini tunasema namna hii, ikiwa wewe umeanzisha biashara leo ya tuktuk, ukiwa unaanza ile biashara ni kujifunga mkanda, kwa sababu kabla matunda yatoke kuna kule kuumia. Ikiwa wewe unafanya kazi ya shambani na umeweka mbegu, kuna kupalilia, kuna kulinda ndege wasiharibu, kuna kulinda wanyama wasiharibu, ile muda wa kujifunga uko, lakini matunda yatakuja baadaye. Kwa hivyo Wakenya wenzangu ambao wananisikiza sahihi, mimi naomba, kuna siasa na kuna ule ukweli. Ni kweli hali ni ngumu na hakuna mtu anakataa, lakini mipangilio ambayo ipo kwa rais huyu, na mimi nimemwaminia huyu rais, akija kwetu tumeona tofauti, na ninajua katika eneo za magatuzi mengine matofauti yanafanyika. Mwaka jana sio mwaka huu, na mambo yataenda vizuri. Mimi nawahakikishia wakati mipangilio ya housing development itaanza kufanya kazi, wakati mipangilio ya universal healthcare itafanya kazi, wananchi wenyewe wataona ya kwamba rais huyu alikuwa anatupeleka vizuri, Bwana Spika. Kwa hivyo kwa hayo mengi, naomba kuunga mkono hoja hii ya hotuba ya rais. Asante sana, Bwana Spika.
Honorable Senators, I now proceed to propose the question. Which is that pursuant to Standing Order 25-1, the thanks of the Senate be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the address of His Excellency the President, delivered on Thursday, 9th of November 2023, and further that the Senate notes the following report submitted by His Excellency the President in fulfillment of Articles 132(1)(c) and 247 of the Constitution, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 14th November 2023. 1. The 10th State of the Nation Address by His Excellency the President, delivered at a joint sitting of Parliament on Thursday, 9th of November 2023. 2. The 10th Annual Report 2022-2023 on the measures taken and progress achieved in the realization of the national values and principles of governance. And 3. The Annual Report to Parliament on the state of the national security, dated November 2023. Now, Honorable Senators, you may now make your contribution to this motion. Senator Sifuna.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think by now, because you've presided over this House for over a year, you are aware of the character of most of us in this House. Mr. Speaker, in your communication about the President's address, you reminded this House of the requirement of the standing orders that in an address to the House, the head of state shall be heard in silence. Now, Mr. Speaker, knowing myself and knowing the President, Mr. Speaker, I chose not to attend the President's address to the National Assembly because I knew for a fact that at the first instance where I felt he was giving misleading information to the country, I would not be able to manage myself to keep quiet. I would have been strongly pushed to say something. And Mr. Speaker, I would have run afoul of the rules of this House. And although the Speaker of the Senate might be lenient because they know me, I was not very sure about the Speaker of the National Assembly, whether he would extend some of the courtesies that you have extended us in this House. Mr. Speaker, I suspected that if I went for that speech, I probably would be serving now an expulsion from the House for a minimum of 6 months. And I will go into the reasons why, Mr. Speaker, I did not trust the head of state to paint the true picture of the state of the nation. In my mind, Mr. Speaker, the state of the nation is the state of the people. Senator Mungatana has spoken very eloquently here about the state of the creditors of this country, that the creditors who gave us money during Eurobond are happy they are going to be receiving their payment. He should be asking himself, how many Kenyans are still able to service their own debts? That is the state of the nation that I would want to address. Mr. Speaker, so what I did, I joined a group of friends, and you will indulge me here, in playing a drinking game. Mr. Speaker, the rules of the game are very simple. Every single time you thought that a statement that was untrue or even partially untrue from the head of state, you had to take a shot of whiskey. Mr. Speaker, needless to say, by the end of the president's speech, we were extremely inebriated because of the half-truths and open lies that we believe the president told before the House of Parliament. And I will get into the specifics. Mr. Speaker, my expectation has always been that during a State of the Nation address, because the Constitution requires it.
What is your point of order, Senator Mungatana?
I know the Honorable Sifuna could be very passionate, but is the use of the word open lies, referring to the speech by His Excellency the President, parliamentary? And if not, can he withdraw and restrict to parliamentary language, Mr. Speaker?
Senator Sifuna, I think the use, you can still express yourself without necessarily using such words that may not be parliamentary.
Mr. Speaker.
And I know exactly, you understand exactly what I'm saying.
Mr. Speaker, replace every time I've used the word open lies with untruths or misleading or whatever synonym is there. Yeah. I think I do not mean
not factual.
Or non-factual, yes, Mr. Speaker, and I will demonstrate point by point what I thought was not factual or was misleading. Mr. Speaker, my expectation with these speeches, ever since I became acquainted with the Constitution, is that you must address yourself to the steps taken, very specific, steps taken and progress achieved in realizing the values under Article 10. And I was specifically looking out for the address to address 3 values set out under Article 10. The first one, Mr. Speaker, is national unity and inclusiveness, which I will take together. Mr. Speaker, we live in an era where we are being told every single day that in fact, if you did not vote for this government, you have no shares in this government and that you should expect nothing at all. What I expected the head of state to do is to tell us that ever since those pronouncements have been made, I have taken certain steps to rein in members of my administration who might not understand what Article 10 speaks about when it speaks of inclusivity and national unity, and that we give an undertaking, or he gives an undertaking, that we will not hear about that issue of shareholding anymore. Mr. Speaker, the first untruth that I want to invite this House to agree with me that I encountered is in paragraph 9 of the President's speech, where he acknowledges that it is the duty of all of us as leaders to listen keenly and comply with the people's wishes. Now, that is where I took my first shot, Mr. Speaker, because I know for a fact that Kenyans have spoken over many, many policies that this administration has put in place, including the taxation measures that have been imposed through the Finance Bill of 2023. But this government has chosen to ignore the people's pleas and, in fact, to do the exact opposite of what the people have been asking it to do. Mr. Speaker, the other value that I wanted him to speak to is the question of the steps taken by his government and the progress that has been achieved in strengthening democracy. Now, here I went for a double shot, Mr. Speaker, and I will explain why. The first reason, Mr. Speaker, and Honorable Kalwale has spoken very eloquently about what their generation did in order for them to achieve the freedoms that we enjoy during this time, Mr. Speaker, including the freedom of speech, and I suspect, Kalwale, even the freedom of demonstration and the right to picket. I saw myself, leaders of the church, being bludgeoned here. As a child, I saw those pictures of Reverend Joya in the streets here being bludgeoned by police officers just because he was exercising his right to protest. This same regime, this same government, Mr. Speaker, is doing the very same things. In fact, this year alone, it has bludgeoned more people than Moi bludgeoned during the time for multi-party democracy. As a leader of the opposition, I know that I have a right under Article 35, a right that Boni and his generation fought very strongly for me to be able to express my disaffection with the policy of government by protesting, by picketing. Now, I don't know how I can define picketing for my brother, Honorable Khalwale, but picketing includes putting a sufuria on your head. That sufuria on my head is not the solution I'm proffering, because I had proffered a solution that at the moment, because Kenyans are going through a difficult time, Mr. Speaker, please retain the subsidies. Please do not increase the taxation on fuel. Those are the proposals that came from my mouth, Mr. Speaker. So that when you see me putting a sufuria on my head, that is not the solution. That is me picketing and drawing your attention to the solutions I'm proffering. But you have refused to listen to the people of Kenya. And yet the president would come and stand before the hallowed House of Parliament and say that he acknowledges that as a leader, he has a responsibility to listen to the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, contrary to what many people believe, I actually admire Senator Khalwale, because I have studied his history. You are some of the people who have inspired some of us to come to this house. We know your skills as a debater. But Mr. Khalwale, Senator Khalwale, sometimes I understand your position as a whip in this house of the majority. You are handicapped. Some things you don't want to say openly here on the floor or even in public gatherings. Senator Khalwale, those confessions you have made here, that in fact in your stellar career as a politician, you have never been as unpopular as you are right now. And it is not because of your undoing. I honestly believe Khalwale has not changed. The only thing that has changed, Senator Khalwale, is that you are defending the indefensible. The people of Malinya, I can confirm, they still love their senator. But they don't agree with the policies of the government that you support. And I wish, Mr. Speaker, the same admissions that have been made by Senator Khalwale on this floor would come from the mouth of the president. That he acknowledges that in fact some of the policies that he has put in place have made his government unpopular because they do not resonate with what Kenyans want to do. Mr. Speaker, let me now come to what I consider untruths, misleading statements about the state of the nation. Mr. Speaker, the president spoke about many things, and these matters have been fact-checked by many people, including reputable media houses here, on if indeed what he was saying is true. Let me start by the easiest, because, Mr. Speaker, outside there, I'm known as the permanent representative of the people of Kenya on matters of unga. And it is because, as a Luya, I think I am an authority on food. Mr. Speaker, the president said in his own speech that a packet of flour, maize meal, is now retailing between 145 and 175. And he added a very clever rider, depending on the brand, down from 250. Mr. Speaker, I want to submit to this House that that statement is in fact not true. I have conducted my own research in supermarkets here in Nairobi. The average price of unga is still 200 shillings for a packet of 2 kgs. And this is something, because we host you here in Nairobi, you are welcome to do. Mr. Speaker, in previous arguments, I have tried to convince this Senate that in fact the definition of food security includes a reference to people's preferences. If, for instance, my household has been eating jogo unga and I was buying it at 100 shillings and it goes to 250, you cannot then try to convince me to start buying another brand that I have never heard of, that I don't know where it comes from, that now buy this one because it is 150. The preferences of people have to be included in food security. You cannot therefore tell us that depending on the brand you want, you can buy unga at 100. I can assure you, Mr. Speaker, any single thing in this country is contraband, including some of the liquor that we undertook or took during the president's speech in that famous game I've been referring to. There's an industry that has sprung up called Kariobangi, light industries. We cannot vouch for the authenticity of everything, but Kenyans can expect quality from certain brands, and that's what they go for. Mr. Speaker, we were told about the question of subsidizing the price of fertilizer. Now, it is public record that in fact some of this subsidized fertilizer came to this country as a donation from the government of Russia. And this is something that the government of Russia confirmed to us publicly. If you receive something for free, you cannot tell us you have reduced its price. It's that simple. You got it for free. You cannot tell me you have reduced its price. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, this is another obvious untruth by the head of state on the question of fertilizer.
Honorable Senator is misleading this House. He is talking about free fertilizers. Can he provide evidence, table this evidence before this House?
Senator for Nairobi, can you substantiate your claim And if you cannot, you proceed to withdraw it.
Mr. Speaker, I will request for time to table evidence from the speeches from the leadership of the Federal Republic of Russia that they in fact gave a donation of fertilizer.
So when do you intend?
So give me time. You can give me until tomorrow. I will table it. Absolutely, Mr. Speaker. Let me proceed to something else that I consider.
What is the point of order, Senator Boni?
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I wish not to offend you, but because we have been engaged on wild goose chase in this House before in terms of substantiation, caution them that he should not come here with newspaper reports. He should come here with evidence, authenticated extracts of speeches of the leadership of Russia, which we know.
Senator Boni, you cannot teach the chair on what to communicate. I know exactly what amounts to a substantiation, and whatever the senator will bring must, of course, meet that standard. If it won't, the chair will rule. Proceed, Senator Sifuna.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There is another half-truth, Mr. Speaker, that was spoken on the floor of the House, that in fact 56,000 new teachers had been employed this year alone. Now the problem there is that on the face of it, it appears like the head of state knows what he's talking about. But data from the TSC itself indicates that up to 80% of that 56,000 teachers were hired on short-term contracts, Mr. Speaker. And only 20% of those are permanently employed. That is something you need to say to the state, to the nation, so that we know the true state of affairs when it comes to the hiring of our teachers. Mr. Speaker, let me continue. He also announced that in September, or that in June of this year, his administration would employ 103 community health promoters. And we saw him flagging off distribution of 100,000 kits to be used by those people. Mr. Speaker, the fact of the matter is that that is not true. That is not true. In fact, counties are supposed to identify the people to be recruited as CHPs, and that progress is ongoing. So you cannot claim something has happened, yet it has not happened, just to massage the numbers and appear like your government is working. Next, Mr. Speaker, he told us, I am on the speech. These are contents of the President's speech. I'm not going to point of orders.
Speaker, I hate to interrupt the Senator for Nairobi. The 100,000 community health promoters were launched on my. Are you on a point of information or a point of order? Is it in order, Mr. Speaker, to mislead the House without giving us evidence to support his claim that we did not recruit 100,000 community health promoters? We did.
Mr. Speaker, Sifuna, is your assertion factual?
Mr. Speaker, I represent a county.
If indeed...
I represent a county.
Senator Sifuna, if it's factual, let it form part of those factual claims that you...
Please, I will substantiate whatever is required for me to substantiate, because, Mr. Speaker, the truth is the only weapon we have against the lies that are there in the world. Mr. Speaker, let me go to the question of recruitment of healthcare workers. Told us 20,000 healthcare workers have been employed. This one is also not true. In fact, the reports we have are that only about 1,200 interns were deployed to hospitals since the beginning of the year, not the 3,394 that the President spoke about. Let me conclude, Mr. Speaker, on the question of Wi-Fi hotspots. And this one, if you want me to substantiate, I will take you to the hotspot. We were told that he has set up Wi-Fi hotspots across the country, including here in Nairobi County, in markets such as Muthurwa and city markets. This one, I will just invite you to carry your devices to city market. It is walking distance here, Mr. Speaker. And you will see that, in fact, those things do not work. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the famous one of Hustler Fund.
Senator Sifuna, are you saying it wasn't, it's not working or it's not it wasn't provided.
Mr. Speaker, I have told this House on previous occasion that in fact I have 20 minutes. Mr. Speaker, I was present with the CS for ICT at City Market on the day of the launch. Weeks later, I was being called by traders there that thing no longer works, and that is the current situation today. Mr. Speaker, let me finish with the question of the Hustler Fund. First, people need to understand one thing, that what Mama Mboga needs is the purchasing power of their customers to grow or to be retained at the level at which it was. It is pointless for you to give Mama Mboga a loan to expand, quote unquote, their business, and yet you are raiding the pockets of our customers in a way that it is impossible for them to spend money at Mama Mboga's stall. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the CBK data shows that the default rate of the loans borrowed under this Hustler Fund is higher than the ones of commercial banks. Mr. Speaker, of the 10.2 billion shillings that is outstanding.
What is your point of order, Senator Veronica?
The Senator from Nairobi, Senator Sifuna, in order to indicate that the default rate is as he's reading, should he not issue substantiated reports, Mr. Speaker? These are based on facts, and we are allowing too many things to pass, Mr. Speaker, without demanding for accuracy of the information that is being given to this House. Mr. Speaker, the Senator from Nairobi would need to substantiate that fact on the Hustler Fund and the loan repayment and the default rate, and also substantiate the fact that the Wi-Fis are not working, Mr. Speaker, sir. And to substantiate on the Wi-Fi, he will need a technical report to actually show, to actually express that these Wi-Fis are not working. Mr. Speaker, I am aware that those Wi-Fis are working, even the one in Nairobi. And if it is not so, then let him bring a substantiation report based on fact, technical, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sifuna, on the Wi-Fi, you may not be able to substantiate right away.
Mr. Speaker,
are you able to substantiate on the default on the loan repayment?
Mr. Speaker, you can give me some credit as the person who represents the traders at these markets. I am in constant communication with these people. We are not talking about Wi-Fi in Kiambu. We are talking about Wi-Fi in Nairobi, the people I represent.
Very well.
If you want to substantiate whether Wi-Fi is working, you go there and try it.
Senator Sifuna,
go there and try it.
Senator Sifuna, there is a point of order that has been raised.
The second one,
and
Mr.
I'm
Speaker.
proceeding to
Yes.
make a ruling on it.
The second one.
One, this is my ruling on the point of order raised by Senator Veronica. Just take a seat. One, you've been called upon to substantiate on the issue of Wi-Fi. That you cannot do right away because certainly you need a technical report. So again, you will bring that substantiation tomorrow as you substantiate on the earlier point of order. Then there is some facts you need to substantiate the issue of default on repayment of the loans from the hustler vis-a-vis the commercial loans. Are you able to substantiate right now? Proceed to substantiate.
Mr. Speaker, you know, we should not engage here in what we call kizungu mingi. This is a term of art we use here in Nairobi. That when people are unable to explain to the wananchi what they have done, they want reports, technical reports. What technical report does a trader in Muthurwa need to know that when he tries to log in, the thing is not working? On the question, yes, on the question of the default rate, Mr. Speaker, these are the figures from the CBK. Mr. Speaker, can I be allowed to proceed? I am the most interrupted senator in this House.
For heaven's order, honorable senators. Allow the senator, you have raised a point of order, let the senator substantiate. Thereafter, you will rise on your point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, the question of the default rate is a question of math and your capacity to comprehend math. 10.2 billion shillings outstanding as loans, 3 billion out of that, Mr. Speaker, which is almost 30%, is listed as non-performing loans. Now, you don't need to be a genius to know what non-performing loans mean. Then you take that figure of 30%, Mr. Speaker, compare it with the figure of defaults in commercial banks. You will see which one has a higher default rate. And I will provide that evidence, in fact, tomorrow, of what the current default rate for commercial loans are vis-a-vis the default rate.
That's exactly what.
Yeah, that is very simple for me to do, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, let me conclude.
What is your point of order, Senator Kinyua?
Mr. Speaker, the Senator of Nairobi cannot assume or pretend, Mr. Speaker, he monopolizes Muthura market. The President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Arap Ruto, represent those people. They voted for him the way they voted for him. So he cannot pretend by saying, every time he's standing here to speak, Mr. Speaker, to say represent those people. They call me every day. They call the President as well. They call us as well, Mr. Speaker. What is the point of order? The point of order, Mr. Speaker, is 105, Mr. Speaker. He's misleading this House.
Senator Sifuna, in reference to the people of Nairobi, you have to know that the people of Nairobi voted for 6 leaders. All those 6 leaders represent the people of Nairobi, including His Excellency the President. Kindly proceed.
Very well, Mr. Speaker. It is also important for you to note that of the 6 people who were elected in Nairobi, I received the highest votes of those 6 people, including more votes than the President in Nairobi. So I speak for more people than him. Mr. Speaker, let me finalize by saying, unfortunately for me, I don't get the privilege of putting, televising my telephone conversations with the traders in Muthurwa and the traders in the other markets, Mr. Speaker, like the President was pretending to do. But the truth of the matter is these people communicate with their leaders. Let me finalize, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sifuna, you need to start using parliamentary language.
What's unparliamentary?
You know, when you say the President was pretending.
Mr. Speaker, that was obviously a staged call. Everybody can see in the video. It was a staged call, and we should call it for what it is.
Senator Sifuna, I'm guiding you. If you proceed in that manner, you know exactly what will befall you. Proceed.
Speaker, let me finalize by addressing the question of some of the reasons that the President gave for what tribulations Kenyans are going through. And Mr. Speaker, for the first time, the head of state acknowledged that events outside of Kenya have a bearing on the state of the nation. And he cited the Ukraine war. And Mr. Speaker, of late, we are hearing that in fact, the war in Gaza might even affect the prices of fuel. This is a radical departure from the position that the President took during the campaigns. He, in fact, dismissed any involvement or any role of outside events, including the war in Ukraine that began before the election, in the state of the nation. That he has chosen now to turn and
Senator. No, we took note of those objections. Senator Roba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the statement of the President, and as I rise to support, I would like to single out a few issues that I identified with as a leader, issues to do with the effort the government is doing in turning around the economic performance of our economy. The issues raised with respect to support given to fish sector, maize sector, tea sector, coffee sector, rice sector, potato sector, cotton sector, milk sector, among others. However, Mr. Speaker, even though this is a statement of the President and a government statement, where I stand, the government stands in the interpretation of the government in my head starts with the people I represent, that is the people of Northern Kenya. And as such, the entire region of the Asals, the people of Northern Kenya, were left out when you know very well that 3 consecutive years we've had devastating drought situation that has wiped out the livestock, which is the mainstay of the economy of the population of Northern Kenya, literally completely affecting the livelihood of that region. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I support, I also need to identify a few issues that really did not identify very well with me and as a leader from the region. Mr. Speaker, while writing off of debt in billions have been discussed for various sectors, including the sugar industry and others, and which I support and applaud. But I am a bit concerned and extremely pained to get to find out that within the 14 months the government is in existence, the issue of devastating drought that wiped out the economy of that region has not been addressed, even to a minute extent. Mr. Speaker, sir, the President discussed the issue of Hustler Fund. It is a very noble undertaking that has largely impacted positively on the population of this region. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, the population I represent and other leaders represent are predominantly Muslims, and they shy away from getting access to any fund that attracts interest because of their faith. The Hustler Fund has not been appropriately adapted to address and so that an equal opportunity for the population of the entire country is availed for them to be able to take advantage of it. Mr. Speaker, sir, I applaud the efforts taken by the President in changing the entry requirements for the teachers training colleges in this country. As you are aware, Mr. Speaker, Northern Kenya has really been faced by perennial mass exodus of teachers as a result of insecurity and susceptibility to terror shocks. And as a result of the action of the President, Mr. Speaker, I want to stand here to confirm that Mandera Teachers Training College was able to instantly recruit 644 students who joined Teachers Training College, meaning for the first time in 11 years of devolution, we see light at the end of the tunnel that the susceptibility to terror shocks by the teachers training, the teachers sector, the teaching sector in our schools is going to be addressed and put to rest in the next couple of years. Hopefully, that is not going to be affected by what's happening. Mr. Speaker, the speech was very elaborate. It has captured many sectors, and I stand to support. However, I also stand here to discuss on the issue of 60 years after independence. Counties like Mandera are still undergoing power rationing. And that has not been discussed for what this government is going to do or was planning to do in terms of addressing, whether it is by way of mini grids or connection to the national electricity grid, so that the privileges and opportunities enjoyed by the rest of the country is also availed to the region like Mandera and other areas that undergo power rationing. Mr. Speaker, from time to time it has been discussed by President, the former President, the current President, on the issue of industrialization. But there are enablers of industrialization that need to be facilitated by the government. Two of those enablers is the road infrastructure, connecting that region to the national road network. The other enabler is connection to the national electricity grid, so that the price of power is equal or closely matches the national average in this country. And Mr. Speaker, it's very sad that as we speak, Mandera County is undergoing power rationing 60 years after independence as it is, and equalization fund that was doubted to address that has not been implemented. Even the appropriated equalization fund of 2022-2023 has not been credited to equalization fund account as it is, and as such we continue suffering with that situation. Mr. Speaker, sir, just today on the platform, the information platform of Get 411, it was announced that CS Kindiki, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government, announced as at today, what is reported, not unreported, 46 people have been lost to flash floods from the ongoing El Nino devastation that is ongoing. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we stand to listen to the president. And it's very unfortunate the president was misinformed, and he stood up to say that El Nino is no more. And I know the head of meteorological department has apologized for that misinformation. However, in the State of Nation address that is supposed to touch and create and give hope to population of this country, roads have been cut off in regions where we come from. And flooding has really affected hundreds of thousands of the population in our region as a whole. And the president's speech fell short of creating hope and discussing the impact that El Nino phenomenon is causing in our region. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to support the entire speech as I share the gaps in the speech. And thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Crystal. Senator Sige.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I listened to the State of the Nation address last week, and unfortunately I was left disappointed. I was left disappointed because apart from the issues raised by Senator Sifuna in his submission, there were many other issues that were also left either half spoken about or not at all. Mr. Speaker, the State of the Nation address I spoke with to a group of Kenyans across the weekend, and they described it as being similar to the moment you let visitors, or you invite visitors to come to your home to visit you. The family who is at home, your spouse, your kids, maybe the house manager, the askari, those who live in that compound and live in that house understand exactly where the dirty linen is. They know exactly every nook and cranny in that household. But when visitors come along, everything is hidden. Things are put under the carpet, things are hidden behind shelves, you find the shoes inside the microwave, you find t-shirts thrown behind the headboard in the bedrooms. And that was what they described this address as being. The sovereign power, Mr. Speaker, knows what is happening within our borders. Kenyans know exactly what is happening. The embassies within our borders also know what's happening. But this speech seemed to be catered to those communities, the international communities outside of Kenya, who may not really understand the intricacies and the true picture of what Kenya is going through today. Mr. Speaker, I also want to reiterate what has been said here, which is a quote taken from this address. It says, "Our duty as leaders is to listen keenly and comply with the people's wishes." Unfortunately, that has not been done. In fact, a lot of the people's wishes have been deliberately sidestepped and shelved and ignored just to make way for other interests and agendas to move forward, Mr. Speaker. He also continued to say that it puts ordinary Kenyans' security, well-being, and interests front and center in our discourse. And unfortunately, that, I feel, is also a mistruth that was posed in this address. He spoke about making progress amidst challenges and that Kenya cannot be derailed by challenges. However, when there are so many challenges to be addressed, how can then this State of the Nation speech not put them front and center, Mr. Speaker? He gave a lot of anecdotes, a lot of stories about Kenyans that he has been speaking to throughout the year, even more recently before this address. He talked to us about Alice, talked to us about Harrison, he talked to us about Moses. But Mr. Speaker, I also know an Alice. There is an Alice who is a mother to a child with neurodiverse disability in this country. And she complains that there is no support no framework that is actually assisting and aiding her as a caregiver to her child with neurodiverse disability. I also know an Alice, and she was disappointed by this address. I also know an Harrison, Mr. Speaker. Harrison is a musician who has given his life and creativity to uplift this country and hold our flag high, not just within the country, but outside. And now Harrison, in his elderly age, is in Mombasa. He has acquired a disability and is not able to provide or fend for himself through his creative skill and talent of music. And he complained that this speech was extremely wanting because it made no mention of the creative economy and how the government has done nothing until today to support creatives in the way that they should be supported. I also know a Moses, Mr. Speaker, a Moses who decided that his only recourse was to leave Kenya and to look for work outside, and went to the Middle East to become a trader. He trades fruit and vegetables in the Middle East, and that was his only saving grace in trying to continue making a living and sending money back home. But unfortunately, he too was disappointed by this speech because no address was made about Kenyans' plights, the Kenyans in the diaspora, or any issues in that regard. People have told me that this bottom-up economic transformative agenda is true to its word, but in a way that maybe the government is not admitting to. It seems like money is being taken from the bottom and it's been moved up, and that is the only way that people in my communities and those that I've been speaking to see this BETA really looking like on the ground for them. Money is being moved from the bottom and taken up. Mr. Speaker, there was no mention, once again, about disability inclusion and mainstreaming. Last year, when the President opened Parliament, he made no mention of disability matters, nothing about inclusion, nothing about diversity at all. When he made appointments to different positions afterwards, after the address last year in opening Parliament, he gave no opportunities, and none that fit the quota of 5% as per our Constitution to persons with disabilities. And last week in this address, he again failed to address the needs of persons with disabilities, the shortcomings, the steps that he has taken through his government to caretake for this very vulnerable but extremely powerful minority group in the country. Mr. Speaker, I'll give you an example of today. Today I was in the street, just out here, outside of Parliament. I was walking with a group of street vendors with disabilities who have been thrown out of the CBD by the county government askaris. And they complain that they have been given no space to trade their small goods, selling sweets, selling sodas, selling water. And our own officers in this county have been harassing them, have been frustrating them, and have pushed them out of the CBD. Even though, according to our Constitution, we absolutely have a right to be in these spaces and trading. Mr. Speaker, there were 100-odd people with disabilities who are vendors in this city, and they were complaining and brought a petition even to this House, and also to City Hall, and also to the County Assembly, trying to get an audience with the county government through Governor Sakaja, who has been, in their account, ignoring them because it's not the first time. They were there last week and they were tear-gassed. Imagine, Mr. Speaker, a group of earnest, hard-working people with disabilities who are just trying to make a living, trying to do the best that they can with the little that they have. Because, as I said before, we have to work twice as hard to get half as far in this country and in any space in this world as people with disabilities. And still, what do we get in return? We get the boot from our own government and our own county government and our own authorities telling us that we do not have space or time or the right to be in the CBD and trade. That was not addressed. And these are some of the issues that I wish, and unfortunately, by the
most amazing man